You're almost home. You're almost home. What an absolute incredible Sunday. A telling Sunday. By the way, next 4 hours are powered by our friends at BetUS, and we always have to start the show off with Big Sills. And it was a big Sunday. You're 60 minutes away from proving me wrong. And you're already, in many ways, this team has shocked the hell out of me, and I'm talking the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, now you make it to Super Bowl 59. By the way, hit the like button. All supers go to the top. We appreciate every one of you. And I'm going to be as transparent as I possibly can today. You know, when we started our program years and years ago, I always told people, you step up to the plate and hit a grand slam. No matter what you think of that player or their career, you've got to validate it and justify it. I'm almost there. What a Sunday, as I said. Two teams now have punched their ticket to Super Bowl 59. One's going to vindicate the Eagles, a loss of a couple years ago, potentially to the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs are going for validation of a three-peat. It's historical. The two winningest franchise in the last 5 years are rightfully so going to collide in New Orleans. You know, you can even say this about the coaches. Vindicate and validate. Nick Sirianni has been a punching bag. By the way, Angelo Cataldi, he'll be on at 3:30. Gary Cobb from Fox 29 in Philly, he'll be on at 4:30. Xander's going to be at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. Look, I'm not one of these guys that sits here. And for the record, I'm getting through the open, and I don't care what you say yet. I'm one of these guys that have always said this. You step up, you show up, you get your desserts. It was a statement game, to say the least. 55 points in an NFC championship game. Dude, NFC championship games and Super Bowls are what it's all about. The regular season are steps to get to that mountaintop. And these two teams have climbed those steps. Kansas City on the threshold of immortality. I mean, there's only 3 quarterbacks that have ever played in 5 Super Bowls. John Elway, and of course, Tom Brady. And now, Patrick Mahomes, and he's not 30 yet. Crazy. This guy's not 30. And now you have Jalen Hurts breaking a jinx. Last 19 quarterbacks, no one has ever gone back after losing their initial start. Hurts is back. Something I thought he couldn't do. He's done it. No doubt. One step away. 60 minutes of football are left to consummate an absolute incredible journey for both these teams. Andy Reid, former Eagle, couldn't get it done in Philadelphia. Is now on the threshold of greatness himself as a head coach. Sirianni, like I said, validating himself. Cancun Allen, elite. There is nobody in this room where I am going to ever say this to this day still. Not a chance in hell your boy Hurts would ever be on my team if you're giving me the two between Josh Allen and your guy. That's not a conversation today. So let's not go there. Okay? Let's not go there. And by the way, again, that's a different conversation. Josh Allen is one of the most amazing talents carrying the football team. I do like that kid Cook, though. But you got to congratulate Kansas City. Congratulations to you. We'll get to the takeaways. My game balls. By the numbers, and it's now set in stone, Super Bowl 59. Between arguably the greatest quarterback talent ever to play in Patrick Mahomes, and arguably a coach in about 3 years is going to have the all-time wins in regular season and most likely in the postseason. Hit the like button. Let me get to my takeaways. By the way, I'm not a ref guy. Allen got that first down. Crazy. Allen is the new era Marino. He's a Hall of Famer, but not sure if he will ever win a Super Bowl. Still plenty of time left. Jalen has got to do it. All I'll say to you, Q, is this. Hey, ran into Patrick Mahomes. It's like Phil Mickelson right now running into Tiger Woods during their prime. Okay? It's what it is. That's what makes his journey great. Got to beat Mahomes. You are not going to the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl in the AFC, if the Super Bowl goes through Philadelphia, in the NFC, the Super Bowl goes through Kansas City in the AFC. And it goes through Mahomes. No question. Here are my takeaways from what I witnessed yesterday with the Eagles. I mean, they smashed the record. 55 points scored. Third title, NFC-wise, in 8 years. Second in 3. NFC championship games matter to me. Birds are now in the Super Bowl. Okay? All supers go to the top. We appreciate it. Hurts is 9 passes away from Drew Brees' record throws without an interception. Pretty impressive stat, if not most important one. Completely the turnovers, Jason. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm not discounting Allen. Dude is a stud. Just bad luck, in my opinion. I've never seen a franchise, Q, in my opinion, more hexed than the Buffalo Bills, whether it's Jim Kelly or it's now Josh Allen. I've never seen anything like it, where postseason play is an absolute kryptonite to that franchise. I'm a Hurts guy, and I take Allen over Hurts all day. But Hurts is my guy, and he's my QB1. He sure is. I'm going to say this to you here, what I witnessed yesterday. By the way, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. That football team yesterday, the Philadelphia Eagles, the tone was set with 2 men. Do you know what 2 men that was? Can you tell me the 2 men that set the tone for that football game yesterday? Tell me who you think set the tone for that game yesterday for the Eagles. Who set the tone? You got it, Trey. It was Dickerson and Cam Jurgens. Those motherfuckers went out there and played with grit, heart, desire, a willingness to put everything on the line, pain, everything, sacrifice, every single thing that they had to have to win that football game. They didn't care. It was Dickerson and it was Cam Jurgens that set the tone. Those guys couldn't even stand up. And they were out there playing, and they ran the ball for over 230 yards in that ball game, and you didn't miss a beat. I'll tell you what, if that's not motivating, I don't know what is. And you know what? Barkley's a benefactor. He's the benefactor of toughness from those dudes. I'm going to say it. Oren Burks is a dog. I couldn't believe how well he played. Heard a caller on WIP. Dedicate the W to Caldy. Angelo will be on at 3:30. How you like them apple sills, perhaps? With a side of crow? I have no crow to eat. You haven't won anything yet. You're almost there, I said. We're bringing the ship home. Fly, Eagles, fly. Hurts is elite. Hurts is not. Great game by the player. Elite is every single day. Every single game. That's elite. Okay? Hit the like button, guys. Vic started JD. What did he see all year to do that? I don't think Jaden Daniels played poorly. Dickerson and Cam Jurgens, in my opinion, set the tone. They set the tone for toughness. That O-line is without a doubt just absolutely sensational. I'm going to make a proclamation here to you. If the Philadelphia Eagles go to New Orleans and win the Super Bowl, it's the greatest defense you've ever had in the Super Bowl era. That includes Gangrene. What a testament that is also for those assholes with the Miami Dolphins who said that Vic Fangio's defense was outdated. He was too old. Well, you got a bunch of young dogs in Philadelphia playing and playing like a superstar defense. That's as good and as fast. I can't believe the people that are stepping up and stepping in. There's a vibe of 2017 to that football team now. Didn't matter if somebody got hurt. My wife was watching the game. You know what she said? I like this team. Look at all these tough guys out here. Do you understand something? You're not tough because you get paid. That's tough because you've been doing that your whole life and you played your whole career like that. You just can't flip a switch on knowing that you get paid on Tuesday and direct deposited on Tuesdays. You don't do that because you get paid. You do that because you've been trained to do that and play like that your entire life. That's a tough team. That is a tough football team. Tough. Tough, tough, tough. That's a tough-ass team. Holy shit, is that tough. You're tougher than 22. You are tough mentally and physically and imposed your will on them. The only guy that really showed up in that game, in my opinion, was Jaden Daniels. Tough. God, I love toughness. I absolutely love toughness. Man, shit, it was on display in droves. Barkley is a stud. Man, I'll tell you something. The New York Giants gave me a narrative on him that just wasn't true. He never fulfilled his destiny as a New York Giant, and he at times looked like he was not engaged. It just was a losing attitude in that building. It's a losing attitude in New York right now. Every single time that Saquon Barkley grabs the ball, you hold your breath. You hold your breath. I'm asking why did Vic start Jordan Davis? Jordan Davis had his best game as a Philadelphia Eagle, in my opinion. Best game I've ever seen him play. Sills, I've never heard refs getting points to a team. I hadn't heard that either with Frankie Louvu jumping over. They're on the goal line. I had not heard that either. I had not. I'd never heard that rule. I didn't even know it existed. But evidently it does. Jalen Hurts. That was his best game in 2 years. With everything that was on the line, and they needed him to play like that. And by the way, for the record, I said this on the postgame show, and I'll say it again to you. That's what everybody envisioned that football team to look like. And I'll say this to you. I don't care about the other 16, 18 weeks, whatever it was. You showed up in the NFC Championship game when you needed it the most. In the most crucial game, and you got the job done. Jalen, for the first time this year, was a star in a game. Zach Bond, we'll talk more about him, Hurts. Zach Bond, my God almighty, I've never seen anybody in my life. It's like Clark Kent when he's in New Orleans, and now this guy, every time he steps on a football field with the Eagle cape, this guy's like Superman. This guy is like Superman. Incredible. I have never seen a story like this, maybe since Terrell Davis. Okay? When nobody knew who Terrell Davis was, I think he was a fullback at Georgia. And then he goes on for 2,000-yard rushing season and one of the great running backs, Hall of Fame running backs of all time. I've never seen anything like it. Got to admit, if Hurts wins the Super Bowl, he's elite. No, Super Bowls don't make you elite. Day-to-day competition. Drew Brees, that's an elite player. I would not constitute Trent Dilfer or Brad Johnson as elite. Now, him getting to 2 and being the quarterback on those 2, you're talking about somebody like Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman is not an elite quarterback in the NFL. Would you ever take Troy Aikman over any of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, even though he's won 3 of them? No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Aikman is not one of the – he's got 3 Super Bowl rings. I can name you 10 quarterbacks I'd take over him. Okay? But you're starting to now get into the rare air of going to 2. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. And by the way, I'm not going to debate with anybody my metric and how I look at a quarterback. Bond has been sensational. Both DeJean and Barkley have their birthday on the Super Bowl. Add their jersey number together, it equals 59. Oh, I like it. This is Super Bowl 59. Eagles winning by 2 scores, Big Sills. Always sunny. I appreciate it. Hit the like button, guys. I appreciate you. Both coordinators were spectacular yesterday. Kellen Moore called his best game, and now he's in the Super Bowl. Let's say this to you. He saved his career. He saved his career after being fired twice. He has saved his career. Our lines are the heart and soul of this team. Man, I can't speak enough about your offensive line. The definition of toughness. We're 60 minutes away from immortality. The last 2 years feel like a movie. It comes down to a rematch, redemption. Let's go. Absolutely. What a great chance to get back into a Super Bowl and beat Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, and Patrick Mahomes. Can't ask for better drama. Super Bowl 59 has drama all over it. All over it. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, And Zach Bond all played great. Held him to 99 yards rushing. Wasn't enough. I thought Zach Hurts played his ass off. I liked the emotional exchange that he had with Fletcher Cox in the tunnel. Brothers for life. They had accomplished something in 2017 that will never be taken from them. They went on a journey where they won something that very few people have won, a Super Bowl. And you could see the emotion with both guys. That's what football's all about, dog. It's about going on a journey with your teammates. And if you're fortunate enough to be the last man standing, you'll remember it forever. Great teams never fade. They just get older. Teammates you go on those journeys with, you never forget. It's finally nice to see Sills come around. I'm not coming around on Hurts. And what if you took that wrong. He stepped up, and there's one more game left. Hold on here. Stop talking like the job is finished. Stop talking like the job is finished here. It is not finished. You're not getting an Eagle chant until you win it. Dude, the George Halas Trophy is a great trophy. That's not the one you're in this for. You're 60 minutes from validation, vindication. You're there. You're walking into the Roman Colosseum. You're walking into it. Y'all care about this elite title too much. All these so-called elite quarterbacks are home. Just win. I want my quarterback to win. Correct. Okay? Correct. Let's go by the numbers now. That was a tough ass beating that the Eagles gave to the Commanders. Not very many people saw that coming. Chills. We're doing Eagles chant during the season, though. I'm busting your chops. Eagle, I got you, man. Hey, dude, I'm not upset here. I'm amazed by how tough you guys were in that game. I mean, Jesus criminy. That was just a tough display of football. Just toughness everywhere. Two dual threat quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. Swansky, I wouldn't call Patrick Mahomes dual threat. What do you have, 200 yards this year rushing maybe? Dual threat is somebody like Hurts and Allen and what's his name that run for 700-800 yards. Should Tanner McKee get snaps in the Super Bowl? If you're up, why not? Yeah, just because he runs, Sue, doesn't make him a dual threat. He pulls it out when he needs to, like he had to in the Bills game. Okay? Like he had to in the Bills game. Here, let me check something out here on Mahomes, just to double check here. On this season here. Question, we lose. Will it be it's Mahomes like Josh Allen? Dude, you're running into one of the best quarterbacks of all time. You're running into Mahomes. This is the era of Mahomes. Everyone knows it. Like Manning ran into Brady. That's what certain eras are about here with this. I get it. Rushing, Mahomes. Patrick this year at 300 yards rushing. That's getting up there. That's pretty high. But, you got 700 yards by Hurts. You got 900 by Lamar Jackson. That's true more dual threat. Okay? And let's face it. In Kansas City, in the Super Bowl 59, once again, you have the better roster. Will you beat the better quarterback? You have to be determined. Nobody on the planet would say that Kansas City has a better roster. You faced this the last time. Right into Brady, we can run into Mahomes, not faced. Okay. You get another crack at it, which is great. By the numbers. $1 million Q. How do we beat this guy? We'll get there. Guys, we're going to get to all this. Let me get through the game yesterday. 55 points, incredible. Held them to 23 in an NFC championship game. First downs, 28-22. Third down, not terrible. Total plays. Look at this. The Eagles only needed 66 plays to put up 55 points. That's insane. Total yards, 459 to 350. Passing, Eagles, 230. Redskins, 251. Here's your game. 230 yards rushing, 99 for the Redskins. And no turnovers for Philly, 4 for the Redskins. Can't win a ball game against that team and kick field goals and think you're going to come out alive. That's not happening. Individually, quarterbacks. Daniels was great in this ball game. He wasn't good. He was great. 29 of 48, 255, a TD, and a pick. Hurts, 20 of 28 for 246 and a touchdown. Daniels, 6 carries, 48 yards, and a touchdown. Barkley, 15 carries, which is great. You're under 25 carries. For 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. Hurts, 10 for 16 yards, but those 3 touchdowns were in short yardage. 4-touchdown day for Jalen. Zach Ertz was awesome in the game. 11 catches, 104. AJ returned. AJ was a factor in both the pass game and also the run game. He was out there blocking his ass off. You saw it if you do the 22. 6 for 96 and a TD. Tell you what, too, man, on jump footballs, he's impossible. He is just impossible to defend. I'll tell you, man, I know that there's a lot of guys out there that people would take Jamar Chase or Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, but fuck, man, he is a tough cover. When he gets the ball in his hand, he is a horse to get on the ground. Seals, I saw a stat yesterday before the game. I think it was the Eagles were 11-0 when allowing 350 yards or less to opponents. That would not shock me. Thank you, Dirty D. All supers go to the top. Please hit the like button. We're now at the 30 mark. Tell me how many likes we have. We want to get to 600 likes today. Terry McLaurin, 3 catches, 51 yards, and a touch. Dallas Clark showed up, 7 for 85. Devontae, 4 for 45. I mean, Daniels threw to 9 different receivers. Hurts threw to 5 different receivers. Just such an efficient game yesterday for Philly. The Skins blew their shot when they kicked a field goal in the first. Not going to kick field goals against Philadelphia and beat them. You're just not. You go on an 18-play drive and you don't get a touchdown. I mean, I disagree with John McMullen. I thought that they gambled all over the place. The fake punt, the fourth downs, they did it as much as they could. Now, I will agree with John on this point. There were a couple times in there you're like, you got to be smart about this thing here a little bit too, because you're not going to get possessions back. And the game was this. It was turnovers. Turnovers and penalties that killed them. And then the fact that the Eagles were just better. Chin had 9 tackles. I mean, but at the end of the day, when somebody puts 460 yards on you and 55 points, do you think anybody played good on defense? Probably not. Probably not. Nolan Smith is our new closer in this postseason. He's arrived. Zach Bond, 12 tackles. Oren Burks, what in the world is going on with Vic Fangio's linebacking? Who's the linebacker coach again? He's got to get some play for defensive coordinator somewhere. Holy shit. They had 21 tackles. I said going into this game that Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu were the better linebacking core. That turned out not to be true. What at all close. That turned out not to be close at all. That was not even a thing. Yeah, Bobby King. That guy needs to be considered for defensive court. You know, you got 2 DCs on your coaching staff right now, and Clint Hurt and Bobby King. You got 21 tackles between Oren Burks, and Zach Bond. I would be more surprised to wake up with my head sewed to the floor. Reed Blankenship, I thought played well. Dude. Felix Hunt, who's this kid? This kid went to a college named after a toothpaste. Okay? Or it's Cornell or Colgate, whatever the hell it is. I mean, I can't believe it. I'm watching. This guy had a better season than Bryce Huff. He had a better season than Bryce Huff. I mean, Felix Hunt? Who's that? Is that the guy from a Mission Impossible? Ethan Hunt is playing outside edge for the Eagles, and he's an impact. Who's this guy? Wow. You're this close to proving me wrong. And I told you what I was going to do. I'm going to put all you stunats, for those of you not Italian, stupid asses on my show, the Monday of the Super Bowl, if you do this. I've never done that before, where I put people on my program like that. All of you are going to get your shot at me if you close this deal. Okay? Every one of you. We're going to do 4 hours of shit talking to Sills. Do you get that? This team is special. We have to finish the job. I have never done that. I'm going to open up the lines here, and you freaks are going to come in here because you know why? You would have been validated yourselves. That's where you are now. Dude, amazing performance yesterday. Here's my game balls. We all love you, Sills. Keep it going. Dude, 60 minutes of football. You're right there. Tremendous performance. You know what I do to people? Do you know what I do? If you prove me wrong, I give you your flowers. I don't ignore you. I couldn't wait to get on the air to tell you, you're this close to doing something I thought you couldn't do. Dude, you know how great it is to be wrong on that? To see people prove people wrong is so awesome. Nobody wants to sit around and listen to a guy go, that guy sucks. And then all of a sudden, when that guy is doing something special, you can't keep doing. I'm not Skip Bayless. I don't keep sitting here hammering on LeBron James, looking like an asshole when somebody's doing something iconic. That's dumb. You look like an asshole. We already proved you wrong. What did you prove me wrong on? I want to show this guy here. Carlos, what have you proved me wrong on? What have you won? You know, that ESP guy that fucking is the mouthpiece for the Eagles said that the new gold standards, Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. I thought you had to have a championship, and I thought you had to have a Super Bowl win to be called the gold standard. I didn't know the gold standard was winning regular season games and no Super Bowls. That's a gold standard? Well, fuck that gold standard. That's a shitty standard. Don't you want to elevate yourself more than that? That guy sets the bar low. Dude, here we go. What are you talking about? Holy shit, you don't want a Super Bowl? You think you've done something already? Total loser attitude. Anybody who thinks you fucking anything. You know what you've done? You have put yourself in a position of greatness. I'm going to give you the smallest world thing that I was involved in. Maybe this is what Xander was talking about yesterday. By the way, Paul says outside of Rager, Howie's last 4 picks have been pretty darn good, especially in the first 3 rounds. Yes, they have, Paul. Yes, they have. APB out for the Cowboys, Mark Holmes, 60 minutes left. Crazy great. Let me give you my small world. Nothing like what these guys and these men are going to fight for in 2 weeks in New Orleans. Nothing. I had everybody telling me I was the greatest team in college football history. Xander, maybe this is where this comes from. I was this close to immortality of being called the greatest team that's ever lived. And we fumbled at the end and lost 14-10. That lives with me for the rest of my life. Finished the job. I have a tattoo on my arm that reminds me. Next year we won the national title. I have 86 canes on here. You know why? It reminds me always to go into games and finish them. Okay? Reminds me to finish the task. So as I went to the NFL shop last night, they had Eagles NFC Championship merch for sale, and I couldn't bring myself to buy it because it's not good enough for me. We need the Super Bowl for me to be satisfied. I love it. Hey, Xander, I missed 2 super chats if we can, please. By the way, all supers go to the top. We appreciate you guys immensely. 2 Super Bowl appearances in 3 years is a silver standard, to say the least. 2 Super Bowls in 3 years with no wins. APB out on the Cowboys and Mark Holmes, 60 minutes left. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right here. Here are my game balls. Number 10. Reed Blankenship played his ass off in this football game. He was all over the field. If you talk about the heartbeat of your secondary and your communication, Reed's an important part of what you guys are doing in your secondary. Number 9. First time he's popped up here. Jordan Davis. Hey, folks, you should be excited. You should be excited. Number 8. Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith. He's maybe been the best pass rusher of anybody in the postseason. Crazy. Dick's influence. Number 7, game balls, Big Sills. Screw John Schaefer. Orrin Burks. Unbelievable. Great coaching. King is an absolutely spectacular linebacker coach. You got to give that coaching staff a lot of props, especially on the defensive side. Number 6, Dickerson and Cam. Man. Those guys give me cold bumps, cold chills. They just give me cold chills, man. Those dudes, man, went out there and just gutted it out. Man, do I love that shit. I can't tell you how great that is when you get guys going out there and just putting their ass on the fucking line like that and going out and playing with every ounce of their last will is so awesome. I can't tell you what an absolute, I could talk 10 hours about that kind of toughness. That is so over the top great. It sets a standard and a mindset, man. Look at them guys. Holy shit, these guys can't even stand up. And they're fucking out there knocking people. Man, you play with emotion when you see shit like that. They aren't going to be able to stop this old line. They are blocking nastier than ever. We're hitting our stride at the right time. That's a true statement. You played your best football game in the most important football game. Dude, Dickerson and Cam, in my opinion, I was so impressed with them. You saw Cam on the sidelines barely being able to stand up. You saw Dickerson limping. They had guys holding on to him. Then he fucking goes back out there. Shit. Man, that's not something that you pay a guy to do. It's something that you have that deep in you, man. You're that dude, man. You're that guy. Man, that's tough to beat. You're tough. That's tough to beat. Cam and Landon embodied Philadelphia yesterday. I'll say. Represented Jeff Stoutland. When you put the game film on and you're watching those guys being able to barely walk and they're blocking 325-pound superstar athletes like that, and you're with the clicker in your hand and you're fucking watching that, you shake your head and you go, man, it means more. It just means more sometimes to certain dudes. It just means more. You know, funny, my old coach, Howard Schnellenberger, used to always say this to us: train the mind because the body's the first thing to go. The mind's the first thing to go. The body will not be the last thing to go. the mind is the first thing to go because everybody's got to quit. They got a quitter switch in there. I'll go to this level. He used to push us beyond that level. To train your minds to go beyond the pain, go beyond the tiredness, go beyond all the adversity. He used to train our mind. The mind's the first thing to go in a game, not the body. The body's the last thing. How many people have ever done anything to fatigue? Very rarely have you ever done anything in your lives to fatigue. But you have done this. You put your hand up and quit. You train your mind. Those men's minds were trained to fight adversity. That's not something you just flip a switch on and all of a sudden on a Tuesday, there it is, I'm going to play tough today. You're that guy all the time. You're fucking that guy always. To me, I didn't realize how tough that team was until I saw them on Sunday. Shit. That's toughness. Okay? Jalen took off the knee brace and said, fuck it. Absolutely. That was another one. Not playing with it. This is it, man. Everything you wanted from your football team and playing their backside off with massive talent was on display, and the Redskins had no way of stopping it. Do you know that's like being in a fist fight and you're getting your ass kicked and you can't stop and you're just getting your face kicked in because they are in endless pursuit? The Eagles were in endless pursuit of greatness last night, and they did it. I marvel at that because you rarely see it. You rarely see shit like that. Okay? It's not something that pops up all the time. It's something that fucking is inspiring when you see men play like that. Fucking great. Dallas Goedert was great in this ball game. He was fantastic. A.J. Brown blocked, didn't take plays off. He was great. So far, game balls, number 10. Reed Blankenship. Number 9, Jordan Davis. Number 8, Nolan Smith. Number 7, Oren Burks. Number 6, Dickerson and Cam. Number 5, Dallas Goedert. Adam Schefter thinks Jurgens and Dickerson will be good to go for the Super Bowl. 300 yards rushing incoming. Well, you're going to need it against Kansas City. Number 3, Zach Bond. His endless pursuit. Can you imagine being Zach Bond and having 5 years of your career being told you're not good enough by New Orleans? And when given the opportunity, you prove New Orleans wrong. If you're New Orleans, how are you looking at that going, that guy was on my fucking team? And we couldn't play or develop? Sills called Lamar, Goff, Stafford, Allen, Daniels, Herbert, elite, and better than Allen or Jalen. They all are better than Jalen. All those bums are at home about to watch a non-elite quarterback in the Super Bowl. In Sills' voice, how you doing? Those guys are all better. Number 2, I got Saquon Barkley. He's been a stud. Absolutely. Eagles have the number 1 defensive Super Bowl run versus the 22 Super Bowl. Yes. And number one, for the first time this year, Jalen Hurts gets game ball one. Best game he's played in 2 years with all the stakes on the line. For no question about it. Every single person that they put on that team was used in that football game for the first time. The roster was used. So there's your game balls. I thought Quinyon Mitchell played well. Yeah, no, I thought they played well. I did. The toughness that was displayed was so great by everyone. Just was so great. The defense, I don't know what I was more impressed with. I was probably more impressed with the O-line and the defense than anybody else on that team. The offensive line is the most impressive part of your football team. This is just the most impressive part of it. I mean, it's the best group. Man, is that better than the Cowboys? I know you got to win a Super Bowl before you can be called that. You can't be called the best or the gold standard in anything until you have something to validate it with. Wins in an NFC title in the NFL doesn't validate that. I'm sorry. I posed a question to Xander and to John McMullen, and I don't think John really answered the question. You really think that the four-time AFC champion, four-time losers, Super Bowl champion, or Super Bowl losers, the Buffalo Bills were a dynasty? Or do you? And still you'll never see it again. Do you really think that those guys are considered a dynasty? All the great things you've done. Do you consider yourself a dynasty when you look at that and you go, the Bills went to 4 Super Bowls in a row? Are they a dynasty? Of course they're not. 4 conference championships in a row they went to. You'll never see that again in the salary cap era. Okay? That's not a dynasty. How do you avoid an adrenaline dump after a big win? That's a super question, Mike. That's a super question. How do you avoid an adrenaline dump after a big win like this and keep the momentum going for the Super Bowl? You know why, Mike? Guys like this, you want to eat more. You know what you can do and you're capable of doing it. You've seen that team 2 times in the last 2 years. You know everything that's on the line. You just pounded a team that traditionally you don't pound. Look at the last couple Washington Redskin games. These games have all come down to the last drive in the last minute. That thing was never in doubt. That thing was never in doubt. Never in doubt. Never in doubt. That makes me hungrier. Knowing that I got the Super Bowl. Dude, here, Mike, one last thing on that. Mike, if you think that is all it is, then you'll show up and you'll lay an egg. If the Eagles show up and lay an egg, it was an adrenaline dump. But if they show up and win, it shows you what this team was destined for. Greatness. By the way, the people that say eat crow, they're still fucking eating crow until you win it. You haven't accomplished anything yet, but an opportunity at immortality. You're there. You don't get pats on the back for getting to the test and failing it. You can't call yourself a dynasty because you're taking the bar exam and you fail it. And the team is peaking at the right time. Dude, your best football game was played in the most important football game. Act like it. Hey, why don't you act like champ? You know what a champion doesn't act like? You know what a champion looks at the NFC Championship game the Eagles just played? Great. It's the second to the last step. They don't sit around here fucking sucking themselves like this and going, hey, look at what we've got. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. Act like a champion. Poetic ending with Bond returning to the Superdome. Hadn't thought that, Sig. That's a great thought. No Ben Johnson on Lions anymore. Golfer regress. Worry about yourselves. This is our year. Love that, William. There's nothing Kansas City can scheme up. Really? Well, there's a reason they won 3 Super Bowls and 2 in a row. I mean, I wouldn't go there with that. Or do about it. Now, I like your mentality, though. This is our year. I like this. We're not done yet. I love it. William, you got the right mentality here. Listen to Sills, folks. Close, don't cut it. Toughen up, people. William, it's a perfect attitude to have. Go get it. It's yours. That's right, William. Go get it. It's yours. It's not theirs. Go get it. Go get it. I'm proud of Jalen. This was the first game all year Kellen called the game to Jalen's skill set. They mixed in the run with quick, easy throws and limited him to 1 to 2 reads, getting the ball out fast. I'll tell you what, you can make that comment, Steven, about Jalen. At the end of the day, Kellen Moore has schemed this team up to put you in a Super Bowl with only 3 losses. Kellen Moore has not had a bad year. How can you say he had a bad year when you're in the Super Bowl? Okay? How? M. Reyes says the Chiefs haven't faced Saquon Barkley. Well, they've faced a better back before in Derrick Henry. Barkley's had the better year. No question. Okay? The better career is in Baltimore. And you could make the comment the Giants screwed that up. True. Now let's do this. Here, let me do this, folks. I want to make sure we do this here. Listen, we're not going to take a time out here, okay? But I do want to welcome aboard our great friends at Morgan & Morgan here. You know, listen, guys, I've been friends with John Morgan for over 25 years. And I want to tell you guys, there's no question that his law firm is, and we want to welcome them here to the program, welcome back actually to the program, that he and his family have when it comes to representing you and your family. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm, and they make sure that they take care of you and your family. Like I said, I've been friends with John for over 25 years, and this is what this firm was built on. With, how about this? With over $20 billion recovered with clients, Morgan & Morgan, their track record it speaks for themselves, man. Here in Pennsylvania and here in PA, a client was awarded $26 million, okay, when the insurance company initial offer was $650K, okay? I mean, here's another one. In Florida, a client received $12 million, and the insurance company offered only $350K. This is what they do for you and your family, man. Life is hard. Everybody knows that. Signing up with Morgan & Morgan will be the easiest thing you do in your life. Now, look, if you're ever injured, check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan. The fee is free unless they win. How about that for you, man? Unless they win. And again, unless you win, the fee is free. For more info, go to forthepeople.com/Big Sills, or you go pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/Big Sills or pound 529. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sills sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
All right, folks. Big Sills here. Please hit the like button. All supers go to the top. Xander, I think I missed a super chat. Do me a favor, man. I appreciate you guys coming aboard here. Redemption game, baby. Absolutely. It's a redemption game. Hit that like button here. All right. Hurts and Sirianni head into Super Bowl 59. Two guys that have really had a lot said about them. Nick Sirianni constantly fighting for his job, and Jalen Hurts fighting for respect. Okay, guys, 292 likes. Do me a favor, please. Let's go. I'm trying to get to 600 likes today. Thank you guys so much. How do you look at Nick Sirianni now? Dude, every year he's been the head coach of the Eagles. He's been to the playoffs. Now, I'm going to ask you something that I asked Xander Krause this question. Is it Nick Sirianni or is it an organizational thing? Do you really think the culture's that much changed since Doug Peterson was the head coach? Do you think it's the organization? What has changed under Nick? What's changed? See, I happen to think it's the organization. I don't think it's Nick. Now, I think Nick does something that's pretty cool. And I'll tell you what that is. By the way, we're going to get Angelo Cataldi at the bottom of the hour. I think he's good in the locker room after games. I think he's probably pretty good going into games because that's when he could probably be himself. You know, I said this a couple weeks ago about Nick Sirianni. I think they put a lot of restrictions on him on what he can and can't do. Did you hear Jalen Hurts, what Jalen Hurts said? They let me out of the straitjacket. I'm paraphrasing here a little bit this week. Do you think Nick Sirianni coaches with a straitjacket as the head coach of the Eagles? Do you? Do you think he coaches with a straitjacket? Okay? You think there's a lot that's on his plate? Hit the like button. Here. I mean, he doesn't pick the players. He doesn't pick the assistant coaches. He doesn't pick the scheme. What is his most important job that he has? By the way, I think the resume is insane. The resume is insane. Okay? What is the one thing that he does well? Taking flack. Okay? Has the players ready on Sunday. So you're trying to tell me you think Nick Sirianni had something to do with Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson playing the way they played on Sunday through that kind of pain? You're out of your minds. You don't coach that. That's an innate thing you have in your body and in your mind. You don't coach that. That's something that's in you. Nobody coaches that. You're either it or you're not it. That ain't it. Okay? Dude, motivating me. You think he motivated those players to go out and play like that? I don't. They brought in motivated and self-motivated men. That's more on the players that have been brought in and drafted. and put on your roster than about a guy giving you a fucking Knute Rockne speech. Knute Rockne speeches, okay, that's for high school shit. The men you bring into the room, they know what the task is at hand. They don't have to be told. You know, I mean, if I have to motivate you to play in an NFC title game, I don't want you on my team. I don't want you on my team. I do think one thing he does keeps him focused. I think 2023 was a hard lesson for everyone. They're not going to do the shit they did at the end of the season a year ago because they're better this year. It's night and day. And you know why? It's the people they have on this roster compared to the people they had on that roster. Isn't it unbelievable? I think Xander Krause hit on something pretty interesting about Jason Kelce. I thought about this before I was going to say this. You know, Jason was on the back nine last year of his career, right? They're tougher and better this year without him. They're tougher and better. How's that possible? They're tougher and better without him. No shade. It's fact. And by the way, you know how I know they're better? I can't remember the last game you guys don't run for 200 yards. I mean, fuck. You run for 150 or more in every freaking game this year. I mean, and you blow people up. And on top of that, you're physically dominating this year. And last year, you weren't physically dominating. Jason Kelce held that team back last year. Cam Jurgens has helped elevate the team this year. You got tougher dudes. Seals, Cam played at Nebraska and Landon played at Bama. I know he transferred from Florida State. Those schools recruit with that innate ability, especially in the O-line. Correct. That's right. It's a formula those programs have always recruited in. Mental toughness. Yes. I think the young players on the Eagles this year had more say than most people think. There was an influence and there was a vibe this year compared to the old dogs they had the last 2 years. Seals, I think Nick helps manage the personalities of Howie's free agents, rotates into the team, and helps them gel. Gives them someone to rally around. Okay? Remember something here. A coach giving, at the NFL level, giving Knute Rockne speeches, he's hokey. You pay guys and you have guys on your football team because it's who you bring in the building. If I bring 53 tough guys in the building, do I really need to tell you what game you're in? If I got to show you that 8 quarters away from the Super Bowl, and I've got to motivate you to do that, I got the wrong people, like I said, in the building. I've got the wrong dudes. I want to look at hey, Xander references the 1980 hockey team all the time. And Herb Brooks. I know a lot of guys on that team. Ruzioni, all them guys. I'm friends. Jim Craig is a dear friend of mine. And get this. Those 20 men that he put on that roster, there's a reason he put those 20 guys on the roster. You know why? They were tough. They knew what the circumstances were. They knew what they were facing. And that's when Brooks looks at those guys and says, greatness is right here, man. Don't pass it by. You know, when you're in that moment and you're reaching for that thing and you live all those memories when you don't Get this, winning a national championship and losing one, I remember the one you lost the most. Because it's at your fingertips. That's what's going to motivate the Eagles going into New Orleans. Dude, nobody likes that feeling of losing like that when you're that close. I'd rather be a 4-win football team than be a team that wins all those games and gets close and doesn't show up. Big Jalen Hurts is in the top 5 all time with Super Bowl in the first 5 years of his career. He's in the top 5, really, of quarterbacks. So you would take him over guys who have won Super Bowls. Okay? So you would well, I'm not sure what that means. Oh, I see what you're saying. In his first 5 years, he's been to 2. Jim Plunkett's won 2 Super Bowls, and no one looks at him in any way. Okay? I mean, let's win this thing. Then you start talking about a different conversation with 2 Super Bowls and a win. You got to win, folks. You have to win something to be acclaimed. You can't just call yourself great without winning. You have to win this. Allen has to win this. Dude, he's fighting against Patrick Mahomes. Is that an excuse? No. Is his hill higher to climb? Yeah. So what? Was Nick Foles' hill higher to climb? Beating Brady? So what? I thought that was awesome. Tom Brady on the broadcast. Hey, man, I don't hate Nick Foles. I'm jealous of him. He caught the pass. I dropped the pass. Thought it was brilliant. I loved it. I think it was open. Hey, by the way, you better get Nick Foles' ass down there as the honorary captain in New Orleans, too. You better get his ass down there because that guy's a good luck charm. You better get him there. Okay? Once again, guys, I'm not having a debate today on Allen and Hurts. That's not where you are. Stop with it. It's irrelevant. It's a dumb conversation. It's stupid. Stay on point. You're in New Orleans. You're playing for Super Bowl 59. Get over yourselves. You got a quarterback that's now been in a Super Bowl 2 times in 3 years. Stop with that fucking debate. What's next? You're going to try to compare yourself to Mahomes? Do you understand something? If you win the Super Bowl, you'll never be in Mahomes' league. That's where that guy is right now. Beating him helps your place in history. You don't want anybody else but him. You don't want anybody else. You want him. You know, the worst thing you could possibly have if you're Patrick Mahomes, you couldn't beat Brady in a Super Bowl. Because that debate will always be this. You could call Patrick Mahomes all you want, the best player on the planet, but when they matched up in a Super Bowl, who won? And who has more? I mean, eventually you'll get guys like Ryan Clark try to make it into a racial thing, unfortunately. But 7 beats 4 if he wins it. And when they were head-to-head, he beat him. I don't know what else to say. Even if they're tied, he beat him in the Super Bowl. Sirianni is playing, and his team is playing. Man, if Nick wins the Super Bowl, I can't wait to hear what Angelo says at the bottom of the hour. Angelo Cataldi. Jalen Hurts. He wins the Super Bowl. It'll be the first championship he's ever won outside of the Southeastern Conference Championship. Let me take that back. The NFC championships matter, okay? They matter. They matter when you win a Super Bowl, okay? Jim Kelly winning 4 conference titles. What would you say to that? Jim Kelly has won 4 conference titles, and he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. What would you say about him in NFL history? This is after the fact. What would you say about Jim Kelly? Okay? What would you say? 4 in a row, Sills. 4 losses in a row. Just to be fair, Big C, we've had on this program Jim Kelly, and I happen to agree that I think the 4 AFC championships is insane. And I think it's one of the greatest accomplishments of all time. I really do. But not everybody's going to look at it like that. KC couldn't get over the hump. That's the narrative. Even though we all know getting to 4 Super Bowls in a row, shit, man. That's incredible. Get this. Only an idiot would discredit making a Super Bowl. So let me ask you something, Char. Jimmy Garoppolo made a Super Bowl. Do you give him credit? Is he a great quarterback of all time? Guy won a lot of games. Phil Simms made 2 Super Bowls. Is he a great? Okay. Give him credit for, what do you give him credit for? Maybe that's the question. Marcus, what do you give him credit for? What are you giving him credit for? Rex Grossman made a Super Bowl, correct. Super Bowls are hard to reach. Come on, Sills. I didn't say they weren't. Sills, Kelly was a great player who played at the wrong time for him to acquire greatness. He made the Hall of Fame. For AFC is harder than winning 1 Super Bowl. Damn. So the accomplishment in your eyes of making it to 4 AFC championships and winning it, you would take the 4 AFC second place finishes over a Super Bowl. Interesting. Not me. 4 times I came in second place, and you take that over winning? Holy shit. Did you see that guy? He says 4 second place finishes is good enough for him versus 1 Super Bowl. There's people that think like that? Man. I'm sorry. I'm kind of like, wow. All right. Nick is starting to win me over. They switched to run heavy midseason, playing to team strengths or the team strength. Coaching changes every year and still winning. Players seem to like them. Love the post game. QB praise too. Absolutely. They gave the quarterback a lot of praise even on the podium. Okay. Dakota said, Sills, he wants a participation trophy. I guess so. All right. We have Saquon, so I don't understand why you think Hurts will lose. I didn't say they were going to lose in the Super Bowl. I didn't say that. I haven't even talked about really the game yet. Hey, Sills, would you give Allen credit most regular and playoff wins of any quarterback since 18, but no Super Bowls? No. superstar talent who hasn't finished across the finish line yet. And I don't care he runs into Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. Is it a tougher hill to climb? Yeah. So what? No, I'm saying it's harder to go to 4 straight than to go to a Super Bowl. I agree with you. Darius, if that's what you're talking, 4 in a row versus getting to 1, yes, I agree with that one. Okay, I got you. Thank you, Darius. Okay. Yes. Remember what we said, though. This is Super Bowl or bust. This is Super Bowl or bust here with this team. Angelo's going to join us in a couple minutes. In those days, NFC East, Washington may be returning. Let's see. This is Angelo here. Okay. So he's going to come on at 3:45. Cool. We'll be waiting. Hang on here. So Angelo's 3:45. You guys have more time here. I see somebody talking about AJ versus Lattimore. Absolutely great. I mean, AJ Brown knew he had a tough one against, and he got the better of Marshawn Lattimore again. Super Bowl or bust. Okay? Absolutely, man. Guys, that's what this is all about anyway. Life is that way. Success or bust. Or you can have, again, if you don't want to strive for the greatness, there's a ton of people in the world that are C students. This is A student shit. The world is filled with C and D students. Certain people elevate the C and D students to being C and B, and then the B and C to A. World's run by C students. These guys that are going to play on Sunday in 2 weeks, these guys are the one percenters of the 1 percenters. 360 likes. I like it. See if we can get to 400 by the top of the hour, guys. I'd appreciate it. Thank you, guys. By the way, your supers have been great. Okay? Gannon was a D student. Well, he got as far as this team did. And now he's a head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Can't be that bad. Can't be that bad. Tell you this. It's a great comment here. What would a Super Bowl MVP mean to Hurts or Barkley? Who would it mean more to? Who would it mean more to? Barkley or Hurts? Bryce Huff is a D student. You know, Sig, I'm okay with 2 things with Bryce Huff. Yes, they spent a shitload of money on him, but you know how I'm going to swallow that? I'm going to swallow it this way. Nolan Smith came on in the end, and you know what? Nolan came on for me, and he kind of validated a little bit there for me and got it done. Okay? So I'm going to swallow that and do everything I can to move off that guy in the offseason. I'm going to get off that dude. KC, 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls, won 3. Got to beat the king to wear the crown. Or it's going to take the crown by 3rd quarter. It played like they did in the NFC Championship game. I have to agree with you. That's the best game in my 5 years. 5 years, April 27th, I think it is, right, Xander? when I started. I'll say this to you. That's the best football game I've seen you play. That you won. This bend but don't break defense, I don't think it's a bend but don't break defense. I think it's a kick your ass defense. Andy will have no problems getting 5 yards the whole way down the field. They still need the turnovers to make it happen. Probably so. Honestly, don't think they care about MVP, Sills. Why? Standing out in a crowd, is something wrong with that? And wanting to stand out in a crowd? That's why you play team sports too, you know. Guys that stand out in a crowd, guys who's an MVP, probably means more to Barkley because of the wasted years and the fact he couldn't get 2105. I mean, you give him the Super Bowl MVP versus 2105, I'll remember that for the rest of my life. How many running backs have won the Super Bowl Most Valuable Player? My friend Otis Anderson did, who's been on his program 3-4 times. Marcus Allen, I believe. I can't remember the last guy to win the MVP award. Terrell Davis was the last running back to win the MVP award. Is that correct? With those Denver Bronco teams? If I'm not mistaken, I can't think of a running back that has won the MVP award in the Super Bowl. I think it's Terrell Davis is the last guy, and I think that's those Broncos teams in the late 90s. Bills, if you put the Bills in the NFC and they made it to where they lost to the Chiefs the amount of times, isn't that as equal to losing to them now? If you put the Bills in the NFC and they made it to where they lost to the Chiefs the amount of times, isn't that as equal as losing to them now? Hey, give me a little bit more on that one there. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. They would both tribute an MVP to their team. They would. They would, both Barkley and I believe that. Okay? Yeah, Otis won it in 90. Yeah, Barkley, man. I mean, Hurts getting an MVP award, though, would be huge. It would be huge. Guys, hit that like button. I appreciate it. Okay? Thank you, guys. Mahomes is, but Jalen is iron. Says, how about Will Shipley? I like the runs by Will. Hey, by the time Will Shipley got in, I think the Redskins had waved the white flag. Okay? I think so. Guys, hit the like button. Thank you. If the Bills were in the NFC and they made it to the Super Bowl as we did and lost to them the amount of times they have lost to them in the AFC Championship game, isn't that equal to how it's now? I see what you're saying now. Dude, I think you got to get to the Super Bowl. And you know what? Peyton Manning. This is why I say this to you. Hey, you think Peyton Manning underachieved? He did. He underachieved because of Brady. Do you know what Peyton Manning's postseason record is? How many people know what his postseason record is? And how many Super Bowls did he win in Indianapolis? He won 1. Shit, Roethlisberger won 2. Do you know Peyton Manning's record? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is like 14-13 or something like that. Or like 12-11. There it is, 14-13. This guy's 1 game over 500 as quarterback in the postseason. He's 14-13. Okay? 14 wins a ton of games. You know what Patrick Mahomes' record is? No, wait a minute. How many years did he run into Brady? And everybody reveres Peyton Manning as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But he ran into Brady. He's got, what, 2 Super Bowls? Brady's got 7. He'll always be Scottie Pippen in the conversation when it comes to who's the greatest. Why? You're in an era. And Josh Allen is in the AFC with Patrick Mahomes. He is this version of Peyton Manning. As great as he is, there's someone better. Well, Sills, if he was in the NFC, hey, ifs, ands, and buts, and what's, and this and that, who cares? That's not what it. It's not how this works. Okay, that's not how this works. Well, if Lamar was in the NFC, yeah, well, great. I get it. Guys, do me a favor, please. Hit the like button. Angelo's going to be with us in about 10 minutes. Okay, we're going to get Angelo on here, and he's going to give us his spin here in a second here. Okay? I can't compare Allen to Manning, though. Why, Josh Allen is far more talented player than Manning. Manning played with Hall of Fame players everywhere. Edgerrin James, Marshall Faulk, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne. What are you talking? And a Hall of Fame coach. Who in the world has Allen played with that's a Hall of Famer? Name me one. Name me one player he played with that's a Hall of Famer. I'll wait. And that's what makes Brady even better than Manning. Brady never played with a Hall of Fame receiver except for Gronk that won a Super Bowl. Okay? Never. Brady never played with a Hall of Fame receiver that won a Super Bowl. Mike Evans probably will be that only guy. Okay? Mike Evans will probably be that only guy. The guy in Tampa is going to make it to Canton. Okay? I got to tell you, man, I got a bunch of videos sent to me from people down in Center City. And Angelo tried to tell me all this. When this team wins in this city, these people go nuts. Stills, I'm down in Center City, and I'm hammered. And I'm climbing a flagpole. Look at this. And I'm like, that's crazy great. You know what? There's very few communities and cities that embrace their teams like this. And you got 2 teams. Oh, Kansas City's got a great fan base. And Chiefs Kingdom. I'll wait till Angelo gets a hold of them. I can't wait to hear Angelo talking about, the Kansas City fans and this and that. But holy cow, man. I mean, it's really awesome here to see what's going on. City's just absolutely going crazy here. Oh, and by the way, before I get Angelo on, I'd like to send this message out to the 76ers. Stop being assholes. You can't congratulate the Eagles for winning the NFC because your loser owner is the owner of the Commanders, and you're the only people in the city that's not giving them their desserts for winning because it makes your asshole owner look like okay, my team didn't win. Hey, those are the same people you want to go to Wells Fargo and send season tickets to buy Sixer games, and now you're not telling people with the Eagles, hey, congratulations with you guys. The same people that buy season tickets, hey, congratulations on winning the NFC. Really? How petty can you be? How petty can you be? Angelo warned me about that guy. Talk about a carpetbagger. Hey, I'll tell you this. This is a note here for Jeffrey Lurie. You buy that Celtics team, I don't know, Boston, Philly, they're the same dudes. That's not going to go well, I don't think. He's in the finalist for the ownership of the Celtics. Jeffrey Lurie's in love with Boston for some reason. Okay, he always, he never wanted to really own the Eagles. He wanted to own the Patriots, but Victor Kiam didn't sell it to him. Victor Kiam sold it to the guy who started buying the land around Bob Kraft, Sullivan Stadium. Angelo's from up in that area. He knows what I'm talking about. All right. I couldn't wait to get him on, man, because here's a guy that's seen it all, done it all. And when a city like this wins something like this, and now you're 60 minutes away from winning a Super Bowl for the second time in 8 years, 3 NFC championships in that 8 years, that's 3 Super Bowl appearances. Our good friend Angelo Cataldi joins us now, and I can't wait to hear him. Angelo, I mean, city's it's nuts right now, isn't it?
Oh, it's great. It's these mobs that you have in Koppman and Frankfurt and all these major thoroughfares around Philadelphia, they actually have to literally put grease on the poles so people won't crawl up and kill themselves. That's how insane it gets here. And there's not a city in America where this means more than it means right here in Philadelphia right now. KC is a good football town, don't get me wrong, but they've had enough of these lately. This is their third in a row, whatever. No, this is ours, and the greatest moment of all is less than 2 weeks away when the Eagles smoke the Chiefs, and Andy Reid is on the sideline doing the Voodoo thing, the thing that they're paying the money for, that stupid commercial. And he's on the sideline, and Mahomes is there, and he's flopping on the side. Oh, where were the officials when we needed them this time? And let me just to start here, Dan, let me congratulate the National Football League for what is a remarkable record. The officials called more penalties against the Bills than the Chiefs yesterday, thereby extending the streak of favorable officiating to 12 consecutive playoff games. And that doesn't include the ridiculous decisions on the replays. The ball hits the ground. No, it didn't hit the ground. It's a good catch. Oh, Dan, and here's the best part. This Eagles team, though I misread them spectacularly at the beginning, acknowledged this Eagles team is a lot better than the Chiefs, and they're going to beat the crap out of them in 2 weeks. Wow. Words, there's going to be a parade in Philadelphia because they're not going to be able to stop Saquon Barkley or that running game. They couldn't stop the Bills when the Bills got back in the game, and the Bills don't have half the running game the Eagles do. They're about to get a rude awakening in the city of Kansas City, and I can't wait.
Angelo, did they not have the best team, or how about this, the better roster in 22 like they do now? They had the better roster. Why is this team, in your opinion, different than that 22 team?
This team is better. All right, this team didn't have cornerback like Quinyon Mitchell. They did not have Cooper DeJean at the safety position. This is the best Eagles team in the time I've been in Philadelphia. That's over 40 years. This is the best team, all right? This team has great receivers, great running back, Hall of Fame running back. They got a terrific offensive line. They were doing all that running yesterday, missing one of their guys. First, they were missing Cam Jurgens. Then they were missing Landon Dickerson. And they still totally dominated the run game. Barkley, I think, had 8 yards of carry. Yeah. He only carried it 15 times. Yep. No, this Eagles team is better than 2022. And there's one other factor that makes them a lot better. This team has a defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, who has a clue what he's doing. Jonathan Gannon blew that game in the second half. They couldn't stop. They just could not stop Mahomes. That will not happen in Fangio. And that's why the Eagles are going to win the game. And it's going to be a great – and I don't even give a damn about the officials because the Eagles are so much better. They're going to beat them anyway. It's not going to matter. Taylor Swift is going to be up in the luxury box writing sad songs in the fourth quarter because the Eagles are going to be kicking Travis Kelce's ass.
Do you agree, Angelo, if they fulfilled the deal here by winning this Super Bowl, Number 1 ranked defense. You just mentioned it. I mean, the player development. Look at Nolan Smith arriving. Oren Burks parachutes out of nowhere and has 9 tackles in the game. Is this not better, in your opinion, than what even Gang Green did? That's hard for me to say with Jerome and Reggie and Wes and Andre and Seth and all them guys and Clyde. I know, man, it's an electric. They won the Triple Crown for defense. But don't you agree, if they fulfill the prophecy here and they win in 2 weeks in the Super Bowl, how's this not the greatest defense in Eagle history?
You're going to have a hard time convincing me that Gang Green defense with Reggie and Jerome and those guys wasn't the best. It's the best I've ever seen. The difference between that defense and this one is the defense, Buddy Ryan and even a couple of years with Kotite, were that those guys struck fear.
They did.
They were turnover machines.
Yep.
They weren't happy beating you. They wanted to throttle you. The body bag game. They wanted to beat the hell out of you. This team is good that way, but it's not that ferocious. It's a little more bend with don't break than they thought back then. That's the biggest difference. But this is a better defense than Mahomes has seen this year.
Oh, yeah.
By a wide margin. And Mahomes is preparing for the defense he saw 2 years ago when that milquetoast Jonathan Gannon was the defensive coordinator. Oh, is he going to get shocked when he sees? Because they're coming after him, right? They're coming after him. And I'll tell you something else. I think Mr. Big Play is going to be back in that Super Bowl for one more look. Brandon Graham stripped Brady, and don't be shocked if he doesn't strip Mahomes at some point. This is going to be the greatest day in my life as a sports fan when the Eagles beat that jackass Andy Reid and Mr. Flopper Patrick Mahomes. I'm telling you. And, you know, the only thing I'm doing here is stirring stuff up from the sidelines now because I am not on the radio anymore, but I've been doing a bunch of hits and I'm writing my web. I wrote a new blog on my blog post today. Go to angelocatali.com. And I just can't wait. I'm counting the days now because what happened yesterday was almost silly.
Yeah.
When Frankie Lou, what's his name? Louvu? But when he was hurtling over to try to stop the tush push, then and they couldn't do it. They didn't know what to do. It exposed them. They practiced for a week, and all they came up with was, well, let's get the linebacker and see if he can hurdle over the center and get to Hurts. Well, yeah, but that's called offside. It doesn't work. And did you ever in your life, and you played the game there, did you ever hear the officials say, look, if they keep doing this, we're just going to give the Eagles a touchdown?
I know. I didn't even know that rule existed. I never heard that before. He goes, if they do it 2 more times, we're going to give them the 7. I went, that's a rule? Angelo was like one of those rules that you're on a schoolyard and somebody goes, if you do it again, I'm giving them the touchdown. I thought they made it up right there on the set there.
And the first play from scrimmage by the Eagles, they've been working a whole week to somehow slow down Barkley. First play from scrimmage, 60 yards for a touchdown. You knew it was over right there.
Did you not feel this? If you were Washington, you were so jacked up coming in the game. He touches the ball. And to me, I kind of felt an exhale from the Commander's sidelines. I was like, wait a minute. How does that not take your breath away when you go, yeah.
Wow. It was really over. Then it was just a question of, well, they're not stopping Barkley. They have no clue for the tush. What have they been practicing all week? And here's the bottom line. They're not nearly as good. They're talented. They're young. They might get better. But right now, they're no match for the Eagles. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure anybody is. I don't think the Lions would have beaten the Eagles. The Eagles they have balance. They have talent just about at every position. And the coordinators are doing a great job. And that's it. That's all you need.
How about this, Angelo? I think the game was set by 2 people yesterday. And I know the obvious people are going to go Barkley and Hurts, but I'm going to go here. Man, I'll tell you what I saw that I just, for an old guy like me and an old football guy like me, the way Dickerson and Cam Jurgens went out there and put their ass on the line, they guys, I mean, you saw Dickerson being helped off the field, barely walking.
Yeah.
Jurgens could barely bend over. And those two guys were out there just playing their asses off. And to me, they ran for 230 yards, like you said. I thought Tyler Steen played all good. The coach on that sidelines, man, Vic Fangio in the booth and Jeff Stoutland over there on the sidelines.
Wow.
I got to tell you, Angelo, those two guys, Dickerson and Cam Jurgens, I think they set the tone for what that beating was going to be on Sunday because they played with everything on the line.
Dead on, as always, Dan. And here's the best part of it. I'm going to incorporate a hero from our recent past. They learned it. Jurgens and Dickerson learned it from a guy named Jason Kelsey, who didn't miss a game for 11 seasons, didn't miss a game. And Jurgens wanted to play, wouldn't let them deactivate him. He wanted to be there if something happened. And when it did, bang, he's in the game. He's worried about, we're not going to have a third string center. I'll come in the game and I'll battle through it. And Dickerson, you saw how much he gave you. And you know what? They got 2 weeks to heal. And 2 weeks from now, with the great training staff the Eagles got, good luck, Chiefs. And I'm focused on one thing now. You got to understand what it was like for me. I did 33 years on the radio every morning, all those years. And then we got to the guy I hated the most, Andy Reid, in my final week of my career. And they blew it in the second half. And I went away discouraged. And now, 2 years later, as strictly a fan, I could see all of that avenged in one wonderful night in New Orleans, Louisiana. Oh, are you kidding me? This is perfect.
I love it. I love it. Angelo, please help me here, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick Sirianni.
Hey, notice I left him out. I know
that
was on purpose.
I couldn't leave it without
right.
Angelo, listen, I'm with you, but then I'm like, shit, if this guy wins here, man, I don't know, man. You got to start going like this, Angelo. I mean,
look, I'm not ready to do any of that. I know he's trying now to call out his dissenters because he's got this amazing record and all. All I'll say is this, as a tribute to my grandfather, the great Nicola Chulo, who often used this term for me. I still think Sirianni is a stunad. But he's our stunad.
I got it.
Stupid. That means stupid. And when the Eagles win, yeah, he will have a big moment. And then a couple of years from now, he'll try to do what Doug Peterson did, and they'll cash him out.
And see, but don't you think it's more about how the organization is built? He didn't build this culture. He didn't build any of this. This is stuff that was set in place 10 years prior to that. And so I have a hard time doing this. Look at what he's done in the locker room. I'm like, that locker room has been like that for 14 years, man. I mean, it's been like that. What is the one thing that he brings to it? I mean, I'm still in search of that.
I don't know. Maybe a tightly cropped beard. I'm not sure what it is. Here's what I can tell you. All right. If you're looking around for somebody to give the ultimate credit for what you're seeing right now, there's only one guy, and that's Howie Roseman. Because Howie not only had the greatest draft of his career, not only had his best free agency of his career, but he picked players who had a winning pedigree. He had those kids from Georgia, Alabama. He's bringing people onto the team that have the character to win big games. And that's what you're going to see in the Super Bowl. You're going to see a team that is fully committed to that. This Hurts stuff that's been going on. All I know about Hurts is he wins. Yesterday, turnover battle. The Eagles won 4-0. You're not going to win a playoff game if you don't, if the other team is you are going to win a playoff game. If the other teams turn it over 4 times and you're not, you're just going to every time. And they're going to keep protecting the ball, and they're going to win the game just by grinding it out. Hand the ball off, knock the snot out of the defensive line, and win the game. And that's the Eagles' formula for the year, and it's working great. I can't tell you how much I'm enjoying this. Yesterday was my favorite day since the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I mean, that's 7 years ago. So it's 7 years. That was just fun because I never felt threatened. The Commanders were up 3-0, and I went, nothing. That'll be nothing.
Angelo, let me show you how close the game was. This is a coin I'm going to flip. Heads. That's it. The game was over after the coin flip.
Right.
I mean, it was.
It was great. Now, yeah, in all honesty, I have one main fear, and that is that the officials who have been so one-sided for 4 years now are going to continue to do that in the Super Bowl. But this time, it might be ref-proof because the Eagles are a lot better than they were 2 years ago, and the Chiefs aren't as good as they were 2 years ago. And we should be able to see that, and we should be able to have a celebration this time.
You think this roster is better than the 17 roster?
Yeah, it's deeper. I said it's the best one I've seen in 40 years because it's got great people in most of the places on the field. And they're holding up. They're holding up. Like you said, Dean goes down and you bring in another guy who plays really well. Bond. Nobody thought Bond is insanely good. All he does is force fumbles, make big tackles, open field tackling. And it's just, it's almost like you live in a dream. It's almost like this year to me. After my awful prediction, all right, I predicted 5 wins. Boom.
I predicted 9, so I'm right with you.
No, 9's a hell of a lot better than 5. You realize if they win the Super Bowl, the Eagles have 4 wins just in the postseason. That's a bad prediction. But I have fallen back in love because I love a team that's as good as this one. And they showed it yesterday. And they're going to show it again in 2 weeks. I have full confidence that those coordinators will have a great game plan and they'll win the game.
Angelo, help me what makes the Philadelphia Eagles more of a community team and more of a community pride team than, say, the Sixers, the Phillies, or the Flyers. The Flyers maybe back in the mid-'70s, obviously what they brought, because that's truly the only dynasty you've ever had was when they won those back-to-back Flyer titles with Bobby Clark and them guys and Bernie Perrant. Let me ask you this. I mean, what makes that? Is it just a football town, a pro football town?
It is. No.
Why is that team like Jerome told me this story? He walked down, he was walking, he got hurt one time, and he didn't show up to the stadium. He heard every house had the window open in September, and everybody had the game on. He never missed a game, and he's walking down the street, a house that he lived with Keith Byers and them guys, and he goes, "You never miss a game because if you walk down the street, everyone's got the televisions on." What separates that with that team?
The evolution of it is kind of interesting. It was a really good football town before Buddy Ryan, right? So that would have been up into the mid-'80s. It was a really good football town. But there were games where they were not fully sold out. TV stations had to buy up the tickets so the game wouldn't be blacked out. And then Ryan came in and he connected with the blue-collar element of the city, phenomenally so. And parents, like the older guys, right?
More than Vermeil?
More than anyone.
More than Vermeil?
Because he was a braggadocious, loud man. Dick Vermeil, great man and a great coach, but he's more West Coast cool.
Yes.
No, that wasn't Buddy. Buddy was slug it out. I want to punch everyone in the face. That resonated. So then the dads and the granddads who loved that shtick, they handed it down to the kids. I wrote in my thing to them, a lot of kids in the next 2 weeks are going to learn how to spell because they're going to hear EAGLES so often. It'll be the first word they spell. And
unless you're the mayor.
A year later, unless the mayor, she'd never pick it up. A year or so later, they'll pick up Dallas Sucks because that's the second thing we're going to teach the kids. But it's handed down, Dan. It's handed down the way a love for other teams isn't, right? It's not. It's just so generational. And I saw that in so many people that called us over the years to talk about it. And when the Eagles won in 17, for days we got calls from people saying, my dad was on his deathbed and he hung on until he could see the Eagles win the Super Bowl. And he died with a smile on his face. And that is deeper than it is for the other sports. I'm not saying it isn't good for the other sport, but it's really there for the Eagles. And that's why the city went nuts last night, and it's going to be even better in a couple of weeks. A lot better.
In your opinion, it's kind of like when the Red Sox broke the curse of Ruth, and it's kind of like when Chicago won their World Series. That, you know, that town when in 1960, everyone always hung around the 1960. So when the 17 title meant so much to everybody, it was a generational thing. It's funny now, kids now in this generation don't know horrible Eagle football. So now all of a sudden they're expecting it. It's the second Super Bowl in 3 years. And now you have your third Super Bowl appearance in 8 years. I mean, the generation today, they don't know how horrible they were back in the days prior to Vermeil.
So true. So true. I mean, they had great teams in the 40s. They had a great team in 60. And then there was a long drought. And then they were bad until Andy Reid came along and got them winning. They had some, but they kept falling short. And then they finally got over the hump. And now they got, it took Howie Roseman a long time to figure out how to do it, but now he's the best GM in all of sports. And you're seeing it right now with that roster.
Boy, I'll tell you, you made a comment, and I had Marcus Hayes on a couple of days after you, and I brought up your comment to him. I said, Angelo believes that he should be the highest paid general manager in any sport.
Yes.
I mean, and he's like, I never looked at it that way, but he's probably right. That, I mean, with the amount of winning and how they're doing it, there's no question, though. It goes back to the owner putting the money up front and how they do those contracts. But, I mean, it's going to be interesting this offseason, Angelo, and how they go forward here. I don't think he ever leaves. I'm with you. He's got a Hall of Fame run going on now where he could possibly get in, like a Bobby Beathard did, what Bobby Beathard did when he was in D.C. But, man, I'll tell you, I mean, he has got to be in line to be the highest paid general manager in any sport.
Well, one of the highest is Daryl Morey, and he stinks. He's the Sixers general manager. So
and what has he done? What has he ever won?
And speaking of the Sixers, my one regret is there was never a moment when there could have been a focus on Joshua Harris, the owner of the Commanders, who also is the owner of the Sixers, because that would have been epic, all right? But I'll say this, and I just heard this for the first time today. If Jeff Lurie were to buy the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, he's by the way, he's the last. I think there's 3 people that have made it to the final cut. And he's one of them.
Let me just say, all right, first of all, that's quite a step up from last year when all he purchased was a new yacht. Right. So now he's up to buying another team. But to say that won't play well in Philly is an understatement, because we hate the Celtics more than any other basketball team. That's the long rivalry going. No, if that happens, his 30-year honeymoon in Philly is over. Jeff Lurie is going to be persona non grata. He better not do that. I'm hoping he does, and he better not be announced during the next 2 weeks to ruin our mojo. No ruining any Philly mojo. Wait till this is done. Buy your team after this.
Now you know why he sold the percentage of the team.
Yeah.
Because he got $6.8 billion off that 10% that he sold. Yeah. That's going to go towards the buying price.
Yes.
And that's why he did it. So he's taken with the wealth of the team and what the team was evaluated at, sold it to those hedge fund guys, got the $6.8 billion so he can go buy the Celtics. I can't think how that's going to go over.
I'm glad this came up, because I know you're very wealthy yourself, right? Not to the point where you would buy a team. How much money is enough for a billionaire? Like, if you have a team that's worth $7 or $8 or $9 billion, do you need to make another investment? Are you going, wow, how are my kids going to eat? I better purchase something new. Relax. The man's in his mid-70s. Yeah, why's he got to buy another freaking team for? Enjoy what you got. You got
that team.
I mean, that you got to buy one of our biggest rivals and tick us off at a time when we love you more than we ever have? No. And the worst case scenario, worst case, God forbid, because I always think that way. Eagles lose to the Chiefs, and then he buys the Celtics. Oh, don't do that. Do not do that in Philadelphia, Dan. That's not good. That would be a problem.
Every sports team in Philly congratulated the Eagles for winning the NFC, except the Sixers.
Right.
I'm just curious how you take that one there too.
Well, my sources are telling me he was too busy checking his bank book. He didn't have time today to write up, congratulations thing. The guy's a snake. What else can I tell you? All right, the guy's, you said it, carpetbagger is the perfect word. He comes in from outside, tells you he's a local when he's not, and does it strictly for money and counts every penny, fleeces the basically Comcast out of $200 million so he could get his arena down at the sports complex. The guy is not good. You understand? And one other thing, he's not a good owner. Never won a damn thing with the Sixers. Never won a damn thing with the Devils. I hope, for his sake, that he does better with the Commanders. But I don't know. I think he'll find a way to screw that up too, even with Daniels. It was great to see him fall on his smug face yesterday. I loved it.
Two last questions here for you. Angelo, help me why you have a problem with Andy. Why do you have a problem with Andy Reid? I mean, I know, hey, look, I'm not going to keep you really longer, but I know you could probably go 3 hours on why you don't like this guy. But what is the one thing that makes you go sideways with Andy Reid?
He's a fraud. Look, I interviewed enough coaches and managers to know fraud. This guy would never answer. This is 14 years. Never answered a question with honesty and sincerity in 14 years. He was a program robot. And in all those years, he constantly would pay homage to the fans and say how much he loved them, but never enough to answer simple questions about things he did in games. Back when he was with the Eagles, he mismanaged the clock a ton. And there were tons of questions. He never gave you a straight answer.
So he panders. He panders to the fans.
But he's not honest. And then to see now how he's become this boob on advertising, this charming, jolly, fat old man, right? When in reality, he's none of that. It's all about the national image of Andy Reid is 100% wrong. I saw him for 14 years. I know what makes him tick. He's a phony. And guys like that, guys that aren't respectful to the fans in this town, they just turn to dirt to me. And I attacked them. And I attacked them for 14 years here. Because he, not only did he never win a championship here, but he never gave you a straight answer. That's why I hate Andy Reid. There's a lot of other reasons. Don't get me wrong. But that's the big reason. He lied. He lied with a smile on his face, and he never gave a damn about the fans in this town. And that's why he's going to get his ass kicked in 2 weeks.
You must have a problem then with this game on Super Bowl Sunday then between Sirianni and Reid. It must.
I know I don't, because
it'd be like two family members. You sit here and you just get the newspaper like my grandpa used to. And every time they pass the gabagool around, we got the newspaper up and we're just reading the newspaper.
I don't have a problem at all because Sirianni is just standing there like the village idiot on the sideline. The guys making the coaching decisions are Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, and they have earned my trust and respect. They have done great jobs as coordinators. Michael Clay has always been a good special teams guy. He has no direct bearing on the coaching of the Eagles in the game. So Sirianni can just stand there, and I'll know when the plays are coming in, they're coming in from Moore or they're coming in from Fangio. And that's enough. And that's the way I look at it. I barely even acknowledge his existence anymore because it depresses me.
Finally here, what would a Super Bowl mean to what Jalen Hurts has done since he's been the starting quarterback in Philadelphia?
Well, since there's always this argument that Donovan McNabb is the greatest Eagle quarterback of all time, despite the fact he won no rings, I would have to assume that it would raise Hurts up to the plateau where Nick Foles is. And Foles was at the game yesterday because Foles did win it for Philadelphia. And the fact that Hurts is a regular quarterback, not a replacement, not a backup guy who came in and did it, he will probably rise to the level of the greatest quarterback in Eagles history because he will have won the Holy Grail, the championship. And, you know, again, I got into this with my wife. She says, he seems arrogant to me. And I said, no, he's not arrogant. He was trained by a coach. His father's a coach. And his father taught him not to give anything up to the media. You don't have to. No. Just do your thing. Just be yourself and don't worry about this other stuff. He never gives you a lie. He never lies to a question. He just doesn't give you a lot of personality with it. Hey, I'm seeing this guy. He hasn't given up many turnovers lately. He's playing solid ball. And when they needed him to make a throw yesterday, did he make a throw? Yes, he did.
No. He was great yesterday. Probably his best game of the year. He had it in the most important game of the year.
I expect him to. I expect him to be even better at the Super Bowl because he's smart and he's focused and he knows what to do. I have a lot of faith in Jalen Hurts.
Would you put him, if he wins this Super Bowl, because of what you told me of what this Super Bowl means to that city? Mm-hmm. Would you put him up there with, you know, the people that have performed in that city since the Super Bowl era, which is 68, I think? Would you put him in that Bobby Clark?
Yes.
Kind of
he would be in that
place there with Mike Schmidt and them guys.
He would be in that pantheon. And you got to understand that even like Mike Schmidt, it's not like people are head over heels in love with him. His personality wasn't something that really resonated with the town either. But he won, and he was the greatest third baseman ever lived. Yeah. So, yes, Hurts is on the cusp. He's one win away from winning some of the biggest prizes you can win as an athlete in Philadelphia. Yep. He's got to win this one last game. And damn it, if those refs, I'm saying this right now, Dan, if those refs, if they steal it.
Allen got that first down. He got that first down, and they didn't give it to him.
He got it. You're 100% right. And the catch that they ruled on the big throw, that was not a catch. That ball hit the ground.
It did.
I know they both had it. The ball hit the ground, and they didn't call it because it was the Chiefs. And if that happens, I'm prepared to go against what I said before and fly to New Orleans, even though I hate New Orleans, and confront those people face to face at the airport. So, boys, I'm warning you now. Call it fair. Call it fair. We need a parade in this town.
Angelo knows people who knows people, and I know people who know people. So,
you know people.
Hey, if I have to give you $100 to keep it fair, I will.
Right. I used to not earlier. I have other Italian terms if I need them.
Yeah.
Consider that a threat.
Angelo, I got a cousin that does this. I go, what are you doing? He goes, hey, you know, you got about 2 minutes to get in that hole there. That's what I'm doing. Hey, thank you so much. I thought of you yesterday, man. I was wondering what you were thinking when they were just mowing the Commanders down like that. And now they look like the team, man. If they play the way they did yesterday, I can't see how Kansas City stays in this game. They are clearly the better roster. And they're playing their best ball in the most important time of the year, the last game before the game, to get into that thing. I don't know, man. I mean, I think by the way, Kansas City's a 1.5 favorite already. And I'm like, wow.
People, get your money down. That's going to move. The Eagles are going to win the game outright. You have my guarantee. This comes from a man who not that long ago told you the Eagles would have 5 wins this season. So take my words seriously.
Make sure you tell them, Angelo, where they can find the blog, please. So
AngeloCataldi.com. I'm writing there, and I'm going to write a lot of nasty stuff about the Chiefs next week. But this week, I just share the joy that we're all experiencing with a phenomenal Eagles victory and another trip to the Super Bowl.
Crazy to say that. Another trip to the Super Bowl. Angelo, thank you, my friend.
My friend. Be well, Dan. Talk to you.
You bet. Our great friend Angelo Cataldi, man. We appreciate him so much. 5-win Cataldi is telling you. By the way, Gary Cobb will join us at the bottom of the hour. Hey, he made the comment, put your money down. You got it, man. Make sure you guys put your money down with our friends at BetUS. Absolutely our partners during this football time. You got the Super Bowl right around the corner for the YouTube 150. That's right. Sign-up bonuses with the YouTube 50 up to $2K. Second and third are 125% up to $2K. And if you're into crypto, that is 200%. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business. 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year. Live wagering on all major ball games. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sil sent you.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones, and paralegals like these two who bring the heat and never miss a date. That's short for detail. And the guy carrying the box, that's not a puppy in there. It's 55 pounds of case notes. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. So yeah, you don't just get some lawyer, you get an army. Insurance companies know that we've got the tech, money, and muscle to fight for you. When you get injured and need a law firm, size matters. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, forthepeople.com.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sills, National Football Show. Do me a favor. That was awesome. Angelo Cataldi stepping in with us. Please make sure that you hit that like button. Give me a total on the likes. Now we're going to have Gary Cobb from Fox 29 in Philadelphia join us here in a couple minutes. We'll get Gary's take. And then at the top of the hour, we'll talk to our boy Xander Krause, who's the co-host of Birds 365 and also our co-host with us on the pre and post, halftime and post. We really appreciate you guys. 463, 465. Guys, let's see if we can get to 600 likes by the end of the program. You've been absolutely sensational. So I guess the Saints now are going to interview Kellen Moore for a head coaching job. Kellen Moore saved his career. Okay? He saved his career with what he's done this year. Guy's been fired twice in a row prior to it. Cowboys and Chargers. Now, the Charger thing was a little different because they wanted Harbaugh to be able to pick his own coaching staff. So that's kind of a weird fire, but he was fired. And he's talking to the Saints. Yeah, today? Okay, he's talking to the Saints today, giving him an opportunity to take over that team. Here would be my thought. Look, I think Mickey Loomis is a great general manager. He's a Super Bowl winning GM. The problem with the Saints, salary cap hell. They still got a ton of money that's got issues when it comes to salary cap. And I don't think they have a quarterback down there. Derek Carr, I've never been a fan of. So, I mean, Derek Carr is a good player, but Derek Carr is kind of a step up from Ryan Tannehill to me. So I would make the comment to you, well, okay, I mean, how great an opportunity is that? I think you've got to go to places that have quarterbacks in the building. I don't think you could sit there. Like the Chicago Bear job, here's a tough job for somebody like Ben Johnson to go up there and take that. That's not the guy that you wanted to go after and you wanted to draft. You're taking somebody else's stuff here. So again, you know, Kellen Moore's interviewing today for the Saints gig. Okay. You know, when you have success, look at the Lions. The Lions have lost both coordinators now. That's going to be a tough putt for them. I'm going to say this one more time here before I get Gary Cobb on. If I were the Lions, I'd hire Doug Peterson as my offensive coordinator and put Doug in the building in there. Okay, and I'd hire him as my OC and I'd put his ass in there, okay? Nobody ever thought Doug's not a bad coordinator. He's one of the better guys. I saw Gary Cobb tweet something out during the game. He was right during the game. But I don't think he saw what we both and I ended up seeing this team do. Put 55 points, most points in NFC championship history. Nobody saw that. It was a great display of toughness. And I say this to all of you guys. I just talked to Angelo a couple minutes ago here. I think Cam Jurgensen, Landon Dickerson, I think they set the tone. Guy like Gary Cobb watching somebody going out there and they're limping around. Gary's a 12-year-plus guy. You know what that means, folks? That's 1% of the 1%ers. Guys don't play 12 years. Guys play around 3 years. They don't play 12 years. Gary was like a 6th, 7th round draft choice. He played 12 years. That's unbelievable. Called being underdrafted. Okay. It's being underdrafted. So when you see a guy like Dickerson and Cam Jurgens on the sidelines, limping around, barely able to move, that's inspiring. Really was. That was inspiring. And then they went out and beat the shit out of him. Gary Cobb was there, man. I got to get his take on this. The city's going crazy. I'm getting people sending me videos from Center City. Sileo, I'm hammered. Look at me. I'm like, damn, what is this, man? These people are nuts. I got a guy going, look, man, I'm drunk. I'm trying to climb a pole. They greased them up down here. Gary's been watching this for decades now. And let's get his thoughts here from Fox 29, our good friend and former Eagle himself, Gary Cobb. Gary, you got to see these videos, man. People are like, I'm not sure there's too many communities, Gary, that really love their team like they love this Eagle team.
Yeah, it is something special. And, you just joke like regardless of where I go, I'll be walking down out here, hey, I'm going, I could be going in the bathroom. Hey, I mean, they love the Eagles, though. They do love the Eagles. And, with what that, performance they put on, you can't help but get excited about a team playing like that. Now, that probably was their best performance of the season. Now, they've won a lot of games, and they've won games without, playing on that level, but they clearly were ready for this game, and they put on a show, and all the things that they've been working on, and this team has gotten better so much during the season. That's been the remarkable thing about this team. And that's why, they're capable of playing even better, but they're going to be going after that football. They have outstanding offensive line, and you talk about some of those guys playing injured, but they're committed to each other. So that's why, this is a serious team. And of course, having to come in here and beat them is pretty tough. It's pretty tough to do, even though they're not even like they used to be, because it used to be, especially like when the Cowboys came in, and man, they were ready to jump the bus. You got, okay, all right, you guys cannot go on this bus. Go after, when they see the Cowboys bus coming in, they're ready to attack the bus. They're going to have to get some kind of guards over there for, visiting and everything. But I think the big thing is, you saw Jalen Hurts playing a great game. He plays a great game like that with the running game they have, and with the defense playing like that. We pretty much knew it was going to be a blowout game, and that's what they did. They're capable of playing on that type of level. And like I said, you can't help but get excited about their football team because they've gotten so much better during the season. You just very unusual. The rookies that have stepped up and played for them. I mean, can't say enough about these kids. They've grown up.
Nolan Smith arriving.
I know. I mean, they were for what, like last year. They're starting to kind of wonder.
Yeah.
But the kid has just blossomed, and all the things they saw him have come. The kid can run. The kid runs about like a 4.2. 4.3. You got a guy coming off the corner that fast. There's no quarterback can run away from him. And, you got him playing that way. And there are other guys on the defense. They had Oren Burks was the backup. He comes in there and calls a couple
9 tackles. Nine tackles. Unbelievable.
Just good, solid football and everything. But this is why, you play. You hope, your team will improve like they have, man. The guys playing smart football, where they're supposed to be, and then they're going after the football. I mean, they've been working on it. You go to their practice, you see them working on punching that football out.
Oh, no, the second guy, Gary, you could tell that they've been schooled up to get that ball out of there. I mean, 4 turnovers and you don't turn the ball over and you run for 230, this. You're winning that ball game, and you're probably winning it big. That's
right. And then they're not turning the ball over at all. They really, kind of had, some discussions. Like after the first 4 games, they when they had their week off, they came out, man. They came back. They said, look, we got to take care of the football. We are winning the turnover battle. And subsequently, they were winning the games. They've lost 1 game in 14 games, something like that. It's been an amazing season, but they want this, man. The Chiefs, man. That's not going to be an easy job, but I give them a good shot at winning this whole thing, man.
How about this, Gary? Do you believe that this roster, Angelo thinks this is the best team he's ever seen when it comes, and you and I will probably have to go like this, the best roster, because until you win the Super Bowl, that's the thing, and it's the only thing that validates whether or not you're better than the 17 team. Some would go the 04 team. If you want to go back, the 80 team with Vermeil and them guys that ended up making it to the Super Bowl were upset by the wild card Raiders. The 22 team, obviously. There were some other teams, the gangrene teams. You could probably make a comment in there somewhere. But in your opinion, do you think this is the best roster they've had in the Super Bowl era?
I think it probably is. Yeah, I think it probably is because, in every area, you got the Pro Bowl level players.
Yeah.
Every part of the team, you got Pro Bowl level players. And I think you take your hat off to the way they put together this team. And then, to come in here and then like after that first play, man, you're going like, man, is this Pop Warner football we're watching? Where, you see that in a high school game where you got a kid that's better than everybody. but they pitch the ball to Saquon, and he takes off on, I mean, you just don't see that kind of thing. But they have that type of ability. If they come out and play the way they're capable, they can jump on on a defense because they're capable of with the running game. And really, it was the passing game that showed up yesterday, where they were throwing the ball effectively, especially in the red zone and things. I mean, and when somebody puts a 55 spot up on you in a pro game, in a supposed to be a conference championship game, you put up 55 on somebody. Whew. That's a butt whooping there.
A hot team too, I
know.
mean, they had beaten the Bucks and they had beaten Detroit in Detroit. I mean,
that's right.
They had to go on the road to get this done here. Gary, this defense, I made the comment about gangrene. And Angelo said it'd be hard pressed for me to sit there and say that this defense is better than gangrene because of all the star players that you guys had on that football team. But boy, if they close it out and win the Super Bowl here, they're the number one ranked defense. Now they approach it differently. Buddy was a mouth with a fist, and you kind of were, in people's faces with that defense. This is a little bit of a bend but don't break type of defense here, a little bit here.
Different. Yeah,
but it's different. But yet here, I mean, if they get it done here, you got to make comments here that this coaching staff too. I mean, the linebacker coach King, the Clint Hurt in the D line. This might be one of the best coaching staffs that they've had since maybe that Andy Reid staff that had John Harbaugh and Sean McDermott on it, and Steve Spagnuolo. Believe it or not, this is a pretty damn good staff in getting it done.
I agree with you wholeheartedly because, like I was saying, they've made these improvements. I mean, you got rookie players coming in, and the Quinyon Mitchell, the player he's developed into, amazing. The kid's is a great corner. I mean, already the way he locks people down. I mean, he's had a great year, and he's just getting better. And you can say the same thing for the linebackers. I mean, they play smart football and like I said, that type of aggressive football where you're forcing turnovers, man. Because if you get turnovers, I tell you, you're going to win in the National Football League. You're forcing turnovers like that, you are going to win in the National Football League. And they've gotten better and better throughout the season. And they've been preaching this stuff throughout the season, preaching these guys. And so they're thinking turnovers. They're thinking about being aggressive and playing a smart, aggressive football. And, we're going to find out if it's going to take them where they want to go, because ultimately they don't care about it. All of the rest of the stuff is great. They've had success and everything, but they got their eye on that prize. That's what they want. So we'll see if they get it. But the guys still, they're not ready to do going crazy about, beating the Washington Commanders. They want the ring.
Gary, what would a Super Bowl mean to Jalen Hurts if he wins this? This would be his second Super Bowl in 3 years. There's a lot of naysayers. I happen to be one of them, okay? However, the amount of winning, passing game wasn't very good this year. But like you said, I mean, when they needed him the most, this is probably his best play. How about this, Gary? This is probably the most significant game he's ever played in and won. I mean, the Super Bowl, he lost. So this is probably his most significant game. But what would a Lombardi Award mean to him if he wins this, and when it comes to people and how they would perceive him? I mean, Nick Foles has a championship ring, but he was a substitute teacher in that whole journey. This guy's the guy, man. He was there from the beginning. He's gone to the playoffs every year. What did it mean to him?
Well, it's going to be definitely, it's like he's going to be walking around with a cap on his head, basically saying, hey, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, because this would be the accomplishment. This is the thing that he's been waiting for all this time, being able to show everybody that he can make the throws with everything on the line and make all the plays. And, he's going to be running the ball. Now, they were playing some possum. They played some possum on Washington because he's over saying, I'm wearing this knee brace and everything. And you saw he was really limping out there real bad, So So they pull one off on Washington, and he's going to be doing all of that against Kansas City, where he's throwing the ball, he's running the ball, and then you got to worry about Saquon too. So and because he can run, it ties up people. The guys on the cutback guys, the guys looking for the when he's going to either hand it off or keep it, they got to stay outside, and keeping those guys busy allows Saquon. That's a couple guys he don't have to bother with, and if one guy misses a tackle or whatever, man, he's gone, man. So that puts that kind of pressure on a defense, and then you still have got these receivers to worry about. That's why, and I don't know why they decided to do all that in this game. In other games, they haven't had that, where they're throwing the ball, they're running the ball, they're putting all that pressure on the opposing defense. And that's when they're at their best. Now, they're going to need to do that against Kansas City. He had a great game against Kansas City in the other Super Bowl. So he's capable of doing it, but we're going to see if they can do that against this Kansas City defense, because they got a great defense and they're very aggressive. But that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to see what they're able to do.
Couple last ones here, Gary. That kind of validates the money, then, doesn't it? What he did yesterday. It validates the money, because he's now in his second Super Bowl in 3 years, and if he wins it, it validates it. Many of those contracts. I mean, it's still yet to be determined. Trevor Lawrence and Kyler Murray and all the money that those guys have made in the past. What do you get for that money? For the money that you're spending?
Yeah, they're not winning anything. You're right.
You're not winning anything.
Those guys aren't winning anything, and that's why I don't really know the answer to all this, and I'm around there. I try to dig into seeing what everything's going on. Guys talk, but the big thing about it is they really have kind of almost, after the 1 week off they had after they played their first 4 games, it's like they said, okay, tell you what, we're taking the ball out of your hands, Jalen. We just don't want you to turn the ball over. And if you don't throw the ball, then you can't turn the ball over. I mean, we're gonna throw the ball 20 times a game, and we're gonna run the football. And they did it, and they were winning and everything. But ultimately, against these better teams, especially against Kansas City, they're gonna need to throw the ball and run the ball, and they're gonna need to score when they get in the red zone, and they're gonna need to be aggressive, where they're gonna need him to run some, and they're gonna need all of that against Kansas City. So. But amazingly, I think they intentionally kind of shut some things down earlier. There's no other way to say it, because you're saying, you guys got some great receivers out there. You're not letting them throw the ball to these guys on a regular. But they won, so how can you argue?
Well, here, what I'm going to say. You tell me if this kind of goes down to what you and I have watched this year. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, because of the win record and what they've won, it's almost like the team has been elevated, but yet Jalen really hasn't elevated his game. Mm-hmm. Because, Gary, 29-03 and 18 touchdowns, that's not a very good season. I don't care how you stretch it. But then you talk about the wins, and it kind of voids that. You know what I mean? Who cares what the numbers are? Who cares what the TD passes are? Yeah. It just is like, honest to God, 29-03, that sounds like a guy who's missed 8 games.
I know.
In NFL today. But I know. When you look at the record, you're like, come on now, man. You're 17-3 here.
Yeah, it's all about winning. Ultimately, that is what it's about. So it's just been one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Gary, he had 92 yards net passing in the first 2 games.
That's right.
You go back to the 70s.
I know. You're right.
Who were throwing the ball like that. He was pathetic in those games.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and puts that great game on yesterday like that.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and even says this. Hey, they kind of took the straitjacket off me. I was like, what's that mean?
Now I'll tell you, I was in college. It's been a long time since I was in college. That's the way we played in college.
Yeah.
We ran the ball on people. we say we're gonna run the ball on you guys till eventually you're gonna like it. Okay, we're gonna make you like it. We're running the ball down your throat, and then we're gonna beat you up defensively.
Yeah,
and we go in there and you leave out. Hey, we win the game. It's 28-3, 28-10.
Yeah,
and we go home. But come on.
So you're telling me they played like 1976 USC football?
Hey, look at the way they're playing. This is what they were doing.
I know it was. I can't get it either.
You can't believe it going like, I'm not up there clapping about it. I'm going like, but that's the way these guys were playing, and they succeeded. They won week after week. What can you say? I mean,
no, I'm with you on that.
But that's the way. That's the way we played, like I said, years ago. And it was in college.
Finally here. It is against Andy Reid now. And here we go.
Yeah, I know.
Like vindication, validation kind of thing.
Yeah.
Here a little bit here.
Yeah.
Isn't this the second time now you're going into a football game in a Super Bowl where you have the best roster? Because in 22, you had the better roster. What will be different this time in New Orleans? That was not in that 22 game. Can experience be that much of a factor in this, that they had gone through what they have gone through in that 22 Super Bowl, 23 Super Bowl, and all the things that happened a year ago that could benefit them? Or do you look at Mahomes and Andy Reid? They're going for 3 straight.
Hey.
And they're going for their 4th. Mahomes is only the 3rd quarterback to start 5 Super Bowls. Elway and Brady. And now he's 29 years old.
Yeah.
And he's starting his 5th Super Bowl. I mean, Andy Reid, what's your take on that, facing his old team and them facing the 22, what happened in that Super Bowl? I mean, can we take anything from that experience and apply it in 2 weeks?
I think that, we're going to see an outstanding game because both teams, I think, are capable of winning. We know that we're looking at the best team in the NFC against the best team in the AFC. So we got the right teams here playing each other. But I think, the Eagles, Saquon is the best back. The Eagles haven't had a back like him. They haven't. So, and at the same time, I think, AJ and Devontae and them have played longer. And I think it's a matter of the Eagles, taking their game up to the level that they think they can take it up to. And if they're able to do that, I think they can beat the Chiefs, because we've seen the way
they play like that, Gary. They play like that on Sunday. They're going to beat them.
Yeah, if they can play up, they go in there and play like that, because they show that they could beat you all these different ways. They can score different ways, and the defense is capable of forcing turnovers and everything. So we'll see if they can play that style of ball, go in there and play that. They can beat the Chiefs. And they do that, boy. They got to get a lot of respect, from people. But you got to go in and do it. But they think they can. Talking to the guys afterwards, they say, man, we don't even feel like celebrating that much, man. Because this is not what we wanted. We're not going through all this to win the NFC Championship. We don't care about the NFC Championship. We want the big one.
That's
so
right.
That's what it's all about. But that's the fun, man. It's gonna be fun, man. We're gonna see what's happening.
I love those videos I got from everybody around town, man. I mean, I couldn't believe it. People all hammered yesterday night. I mean, I'm like this. The guy that drove the car down there and unfortunately injured some people. I'm like, I hope the cops got to that guy, because if you're doing that to Eagle fans, they're gonna rip that guy's arms and legs off.
You better believe it. Hey, he better not let them know where he lives at.
You got it. Hey, if that guy, somebody might bail him out to kick his ass.
Hey.
Hey.
I mean, they really, if anything, some of the fans have kind of toned down, man. Because like when I first got here, I had to tell my dad, when I came in there, I'm playing for the Cowboys. Come in here, he's gonna wear a cowboy hat. Pops, get that cowboy hat off. What are you doing? I'm going. I can't be coming up there saving you up there. So, but the fans, they're gonna have a lot of fun. They'll be down there acting up down in New Orleans. You better believe they go down there and they're gonna have some fun down in New Orleans. But the boys, we'll see if they get ready to play, man. It's on right now. this is a special Super Bowl. This because you got the Chiefs trying to win number 3, and the Eagles are saying, "No way, buddy. No, y'all gonna have to have a change of plans because it ain't happening here." So we'll see.
I can't wait to see it. Gary, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it.
All right, hey, have a good one.
You got it. Great Gary Cobb from Fox 29. Make sure you check him out. Great stuff there with him. Xander, I'm going to do a John Morgan here, and then I want to do those supers after that spot that we're going to play here. So don't go away, anybody here. But my friends at Morgan & Morgan now are now part of the program. I've been friends with John Morgan for over 25 years. And folks, his law firm is there for you and your family. They are going to make sure that you get the best for your family because that's what John and Morgan & Morgan do. They've been doing this for years now, man, and they make sure that they take care of your family. And Morgan & Morgan is the largest injury law firm in the country with over $20 billion recovered. This is what they're all about, Morgan & Morgan. It's unmatched, their record. And how about this? A guy in PA, or was a client that they had, and he ended up getting $26 million. The initial offer by the insurance company was $650,000. John said, no. Morgan & Morgan and the thousands of attorneys that went in there, they work for your family. In Florida, there was a dude that ended up getting $12 million. Insane, right? The insurance company only wanted to offer $350,000. That's not what Morgan & Morgan does. Look, life is hard. Everybody knows that. But the easiest thing you'll ever do is check out Morgan & Morgan to be your injury attorney firm, because when your family needs it, Morgan & Morgan are going to be there for you. Absolutely. If you're ever injured, check out Morgan & Morgan. The fee is free unless you both win. Okay, so nothing's out on the hook here until you win your case. For more information, go forthepeople.com/big sales or go pound 529. Again, that's for the people, FOR, thepeople.com/big sales or pound 529. Do me a favor. You tell them Big Sil sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Big Sales here, folks. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button. Xander, we got some supers that we missed during, I think, Angelo and maybe even during Gary Cobb. Guys, do me a favor. Give me a total on the likes right now. Xander's going to join us at the top of the hour. So do me a favor, guys. Please hit. You guys have been sensational today. I can't thank you guys enough. When is enough? Billions? Biblical. I mean, the root of all evil is not money. It's the worship of money. It becomes delusional addiction. Absolutely, T-Bone. I appreciate you doing it. 514 likes. Guys, we got a shot at 600. Sills, great show. Will it matter that both grass teams will be playing on AstroTurf in the Super Bowl? No, it will not matter. Both teams are outdoor teams. That's the only thing I ever look at, Joseph, when we're talking about turf and such like that. I mean, dome teams, in my opinion, I don't really think they win Super Bowls. There's been very few teams that have gone on to win Super Bowls. Colts, Rams, Saints, a few teams that have gone on to win Super Bowls that are dome teams. I'm a big fan of teams that play outdoors. Any other super chat, Xander, we will hit on them. Here's another one. Backing up my hate for Reed and Dick Reed, 13 seasons, a division title, 1 NFC championship, and 0 Super Bowls. Dick Vermeil, 6 3/4 seasons, 1 division title, 1 NFC championship, 0 Super Bowls. Now compare Doug and Nick destroy Reed and the Chiefs stomp their asses, my boy T-Bone. How you doing? So, hey, quite frankly, you're right. The Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni era has been better. Protect the Rock. and move the chains. Mahomes isn't going to be out there tackling Barkley. That's for damn sure. I do think Kansas City has a pretty damn good defensive football team, though. Okay, I do. Angelo, who's a better coach, Reed or Sirianni? I probably think he's going to land on Sirianni. I'll ask him for you, okay? Matt D, I make sure, and I make sure I will ask him for you. Appreciate that. Here we go. I hate Andy Reid. Vermeil 2. They couldn't get it done. And they quit on us. I'll never forgive them. I want a UFC-style Super Bowl beatdown overachieving Chiefs. How you doing? Says T-Bone. Hey, Angelo, no shame in being wrong unless you don't admit it. You're a stand-up guy, and you do admit. Greatest radio personality in sports history. Go Birds. I happen to agree with that 1,000%. That's why we get only the greatest on here for you guys. I experienced a celebration at Cotman in Frankfurt last night for the first time. I probably am all over the internet today. Hey, Q, I saw all of that down there on Frankfurt, man, and all those people down there doing that shit, man. I thought it was dope. I absolutely did. I thought it was great, man. Peyton is more like NBA's Dirk, all-time great. I like that comparison. I do. I like that, man. You guys, Xander, Jacob says, giving away Super Bowl tickets. I don't know about tickets, but I know merch is around. I just know that. Okay? Look at Josh. Hey, look at this, Josh. Yeah, you're right, Josh. Angelo was a hack for 44 years on your airwaves. Don't you like that? I like that. Blow the whistle theme also plays into Chiefs winning against us by a whistle penalty. And we're dancing on them fools this time. How you doing? Dude, I'm not a referee guy, but I'm not going to lie to you, man. Holy shit. I'm not going to lie to you. Dude, Josh Allen got that first down. And Patrick Mahomes swears. He swears. Okay? He swears that they don't get the breaks. I don't know about that. Hit the like button, guys. We want to get to 600 likes by the end of the program. If you want a championship show, okay, we're lined up this week with some of the biggest names the next 2 weeks in sports. Because this is a great, I even put a collared shirt on like this today. This is a big deal. Okay? Hit that like button, man. Let's get to 600 here. Hey, don't forget our great friends at BetUS. BetUS has teamed up with our friends there with JAKIB Sports, and we are giving you the YouTube 150. Now, the YouTube 150 also has this with signing bonuses up to 2K. Your second and third are 125. And if you're into crypto, that's 200%. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business. 24/7 personalized service, 365 days a year. Live wagering on all major games. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Make sure you do me the favor, folks. Log on to the website during this time. This is one of our business partners here. betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor. Tell them Big Sil sent you.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones, and paralegals like these two who bring the heat and never miss a deet. That's short for detail. And the guy carrying the box, that's not a puppy in there. It's 55 pounds of case notes. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. So yeah, you don't just get some lawyer, you get an army. Insurance companies know that we've got the tech, money, and muscle to fight for you. When you get injured and need a law firm, size matters. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, forthepeople.com.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an Audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sills National Football Show. Hit the like button, guys. Give me a total. We're at 540. We got this. 60 likes away from 600. I love it. I love it, man. Hit the likes. Also, all supers go to the top. You guys are great. Xander's going to join us in a couple minutes. So Andy Reid is 9-3 versus a Vic Fangio coach defense. Andy's coming out of a bye, too. Okay? Just something to put into the game, too. See, we're going to be giving you all these little stupid tidbit little deals here. He's 9-3. Versus the Vic Fangio coach defense. Anything? Plus Andy Reid. Hey, Ryan. Winning is not a fucking stat, guy. Okay? Winning isn't a stat. Oh, I got you, Ryan. I got you, brother. I appreciate you. I hear you, brother. I hear what you're bitching about. Hey, ads are good for your show, okay? I got you there. Ryan. That's on me, man. I appreciate you, brother. Okay, 9-3. Anything? Hey, M. Reyes. It only took you, 20 weeks to get a 50-burger score for you? How you doing? Hey, Steve. Pipe down, kid. You'll be all good. How you doing? Hey, man. Great effort. Just absolutely. We're going to reset here with Xander here in a couple minutes here. And I'll do it again. And I'll say it again to you. Awesome stuff, man. Patrick Mahomes, you're going to be playing against now. Is just the third quarterback to start 5 Super Bowls. Kellen Moore's interviewing for the Saints job today. Okay? Sills, you got nothing to say? Already said it, Arthur. What do you want me to do, Arthur? Not give you kudos? Or do you want me to call you and say you suck? A team putting 55 points on somebody. What would you like me to say, Arthur? Oh, and by the way, Arthur, you've won doo-doo. You've won a shot at immortality. You have 60 minutes to close this out. That's when all of you go Sills. You're wrong. Okay? Jalen Hurts, his first 2 playoff games sucked. He was great yesterday. He was. And as I've said, he's one of the very few guys, as Gary just said, when he plays like that, the team is unbeatable. We've been telling you this. When he plays like he did this year, they're a football team that has to play 60 minutes. When he plays like yesterday, you can play 35 minutes. Okay? It's a shot at immortality now. It totally is. Dude, elite quarterbacks play elite every day, not one game a year. But when you play in that kind of game, and then you got a game in 2 weeks like that, he puts another game together like that, I'm wrong. 60 minutes. And I told you, okay, that Monday, you get to go off on Big Sills. There it is. If you come up short, be a shitty finish to what was a great season. I would say this to you, that's the best Eagle team I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. I'm trying to think of the years playing against them, covering them, watching them. Those Vermeil teams were good. They were pretty dominant too, and they were pretty tough. The Ray Rhodes teams, they were kind of decent. The Reed teams just always felt like they were there but didn't get it done. They were good. They were good football teams. The Doug Peterson, I never, ever imagined after losing Jason Peters, Carson Wentz, a right guard, a linebacker off that team that you guys would beat the Patriots and Belichick and Brady. I never thought that. The 22 roster, I thought was a great roster. I really did. I thought the 22 roster was great. But they fell short. This team here, I don't know how you're not impressed with the offensive line. Feel like we got to keep Mahomes off the field rather than just play their defense. Kansas City's defense can get after people. They're good. They're good at the corner position too. Okay? And they're good at pass rushing. Hey, man, Chris Jones will be the best defensive tackle on the field. As great as Jalen Carter is, Chris Jones is still the best he's the best and most dominant defensive tackle in the game. You know why? He's done it longer. Jalen Carter is younger, no doubt. But the guy who's done it for a period of time and has been a dominant player is Chris Jones. I mean, Chris Jones is an absolutely guy who wrecked the Super Bowl last year. He wrecked the Super Bowl. Okay? If it wasn't for that play on Brock Purdy, I'm not thinking they win that Super Bowl. But he made a significant play in that game, and it turned the tide. You know, the kid, I can't say his name. I'm just going to do this. The Greek guy, Galifianakis, the actor, okay, who pass rushes, the kid from Purdue. He's pretty good. Their corners are really good, and they got a great coordinator. It's Steve Spagnuolo, who you guys know used to be on the Andy Reid coaching staff. So you guys have been great, man. Really great here on this Championship Monday. NFC Championship game is a championship. And it matters a lot here. So, okay. All that being said, what a great week. I got to tell you, our postgame show was off the charts yesterday as well. This is the matchup you want, man. You want Kansas City. Let me give you one more time before I bring Xander up. This is a chance to validate and vindicate for both. You're going to validate the things you've done the last 4 years with a Super Bowl win. If you're the Eagles, you're going to vindicate the loss of 22-23. Same with the Chiefs. You're going to validate what has been a great run. Nick Sirianni, too. Vindicate and validate. You're one step away. You're 60 minutes away from doing what a few teams have done in NFL history. You know what that is? Win. You know, I had a conversation with Xander and John McMullen, and I was kind of shocked to hear John say, hey, what the Bills did, that 4 straight AFC championships, is something, I'll take that over one Super Bowl. And I went like this, yeah, not me. Nah, not me. Coming in second place 4 times or winning a Super Bowl, nothing trumps being a champion. Okay? That was a great run. But was that a dynasty? I don't think you can have a dynasty unless you win it. So if Nick Saban, to give Xander here, if Nick Saban had won 7 Southeastern Conference championships but lost 7 national titles, you'd be all right with that? You think Bama fan would be all right with that? Shit, Bama fans not good with losing to Vanderbilt right now. All right. What a great couple days we've had here, too. The Saturday show we did. I think we're doing something like that this weekend, too. Okay? So do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button. Give me a total where we are. I want to get to 600. That's right, Yale. It's the Holy Grail. You're playing for the Holy Grail. That's what you're doing. That's correct. You're playing for the Holy Grail here. Jurgens and Landon Dickerson were special. Not just great. They were special yesterday. All right. Well, all that being said, guy who did a great job yesterday and has been doing a great job the entire week and also has elevated Birds 365. He is our friend. Elizabeth's got it at 556. We're right there, folks. Okay, 44 away. Let's go. We need 44 likes to get to 600 likes. Hit that like button. Without further ado, Betsy Xander Kraus joins us now here.
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Doing great, brother, man. Big day today. Big day yesterday.
Man.
Big time in the city right now. I can't tell you. Dude, seriously, Center City people were sending me these videos. I'm showing them to my kid. She's like this, and she's going, Dad, what are they doing? I'm like, well, I don't know what they're doing down there, D, but I can tell you this. Sileo, I'm fucked up. I'm down here. Yeah,
there's a famous quote, Sills, that came out one time. Bad things happen in the city of Philadelphia, all right? And that's what went on last night. But look, the city's fired up. The city's pumped up for this team. It was a great win yesterday, really a commanding win. Pretty amazing that they were able to do that. And I will remind everybody on our Saturday show that you just spoke of, who told you guys that this was going to be a double-digit win? Who told you I felt better about this being a blowout than being a close football game? Well, blowout is maybe a soft word to use because we hung 55 on their head. Jalen Hurts had his best game of the year. A.J. Brown had damn near 100 yards. Saquon Barkley went off again. Eagles defense was no holes again in the NFC title game. I mean, sometimes you got to listen to your boy Big Z, Sells.
You predicted a 32-point win?
No, I predicted double digits. Ain't nobody predicted a 32-point win.
I'm like this. Hey, dude, 32-point win. I'm like this, man. I started the program off by doing this. I think the tone set was by those two dudes, Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson, because those guys went out there and played all banged up. Dude, if I'm on the team and I'm looking over at those guys and I'm watching that shit, I'm going, then I see the quarterback take the knee brace off. I'm doing this. Hey, man, you're going to have to cut my arm off to get me out of this bitch. Because that's how they play. That was such a tough ball game they played that Washington The only kid that showed up was Jaden Daniels, actually.
I know
The
his
rest
team
of
didn't
them
help
got
him out
beat
at all.
up.
A lot of people missed the scoop on that. It was not Jaden Daniels was not the issue in that game. His team totally let him down. I mean, even when he was trying to get him back into the game, another fumble that they coughed up from Brown. I mean, they shot themselves in the foot. But I thought Jaden Daniels was fine, but he learned real quick who the boss of the NFC is. All right. He learned real quick who the boss of the NFC is.
Well, it only took him 17 weeks, but I'm glad he showed up in the most important game he needed to, and he did.
Yeah,
he did, Jander. I mean,
I hear you, but I don't really agree. And let me ask you a question.
You think he had a good year then?
Well, I think he did what he needed to do with this team, and I think his comment last night about the straitjacket was interesting. Did you catch that comment, by the way? I was going to ask you because I knew you'd take something from that.
He was put in a box. I think he really feels he was put in a sandbox, and the coaching staff put him in the sandbox because they didn't want him to turn the ball over.
Yeah, I think that's completely what happened. And I think Jalen, and I said it I did a Saturday night show, Sills, after our show, like late in the night. I couldn't sleep before the NFC title game. So I just went live on the channel and I was kicking around with some of the great people. And I said, my favorite thing about Jalen Hurts, Sills, and I know that they're, you've analyzed them enough. I think everybody knows how you feel about him. But my favorite thing about him is that he practices what he preaches, right? It's one thing to say, keep the main thing the main thing. It's one thing to say, I don't care about stats. It's a whole nother thing to literally let your coach put you in a straitjacket, like he said, kind of, and sacrifice your personal stats because you want your team to win football games. Now, some could view that as an indictment on Hurts. Now, I actually don't, because back in 22, and I know it's a couple years ago, but we're now back, so I think it's more relevant. We didn't have Saquon Barkley, all right? And Jalen Hurts was the MVP that year, and that was a different football team than the team is today. So, again, my favorite thing about Hurts is that he really walks the walk when it comes to what he says and some of the the phrases that he uses, that people joke about, but I think he really means them. Like, I think when the dude says something, I trust him now. I trust that he says what he means, at least to some extent. And to sacrifice look, you understand this. And you talk about this all the time when it comes to Pro Bowls and all pros and personal accolades and AJ Brown. Most players wouldn't do that. Most players wouldn't willfully lay down and sacrifice.
He's Troy Aikman.
And let me ask you one more question, all right, about while we're on Jalen Hurts.
He's Troy Aikman.
That's a good
Because Troy Aikman hated the offense he played in, but Troy will tell you 100,000 times he hated the offense North Turner had for him because he wanted to throw the ball more.
Right.
But when you had Emmitt Smith, you're not fucking throwing the ball.
And I think, look, I think the other thing there is, well, too, by the way, I think it's a great comp by you. I mean, obviously I wasn't around for that era, but I've watched all the tape of it and stuff. And I think that's a good comp, but I don't think Jalen can't do it. That's what I think yesterday and more games than just yesterday, but I think that's what we all have to learn. Maybe a little bit, maybe not. Maybe you're not ready to go there, but
no, he can do it, but
he can do it. Like I watched him do it.
He can do it. But
you were right after 22 because you're like, all right, that's one off. When are we going to see it again? Well, they took it off yesterday and he was perfect.
Every week. He can do it, but he can't do it every week. He hasn't shown he can do it every week but 1 year.
Well, you're not wrong about that, but has he been given the opportunity to do it?
That's fair too.
This year. And he wasn't. And let me ask you a question. All right.
That's fair too.
And give me your honest response to this. Who's the most successful, not talented? Who's the most successful quarterback in the NFL in the last 4 years outside of Patrick Mahomes?
It's Jalen.
It's Jalen Hurts. It's Jalen Hurts. And I know he's got a good team, and I understand that. But again, great players don't win without great players around them. I don't care who you are, and I thought Nick brought up a good one last night. Joe Montana, he's throwing to Jerry Rice. I mean, everybody's got great players around them. And when you look at the body of work and what Jalen has done, I'm going there. I think he's really proven that he is a different kind of elite. He's not elite in that he's talented. He's got an elite approach to the game, and he has an elite ability to understand what he needs to do in a given game for his team to win. And I think that's why he wins so many damn football games. He looked and said, we got a chance to be one of the greatest running teams in the history of the game. And they're on the brink of doing that, by the way.
When Nick brought up Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, there's not another Hall of Fame player on that football team that he played with. He had one guy. He played with one dude on that team. So when Nick says that he played with great players, name me another one that went to the Hall. Only one guy. There's no other receiver. And when Montana won the Super Bowl, the first one, there was no Jerry Rice. There was no players on that team. There's certain players that elevate everyone around them and don't have great rosters. So when you make the comparison of, not you, but when you make the comparison of Montana, have a historical reference around it. Now I'll tell you where your comparison would have been. Look at what a guy like Jim Kelly had. Kelly had 2 Hall of Fame receivers in Andre Reed and also James Lofton. He had a Hall of Fame running back. He had a Hall of Fame center, and they couldn't win a Super Bowl.
Was that
Okay?
on Kelly?
And they had a Hall of Fame defensive players with Bruce Smith.
Well,
and them.
so it doesn't Jalen then deserve credit? Well, he has to get
Yes,
listen.
that's what I'm trying to do
All right,
here.
everything I just said, I believe 100%. But I will also acknowledge we're not done yet. Okay, it's an amazing accomplishment to reach a Super Bowl twice
he's
in 3
in the
years.
first 4 chapters.
No doubt, you got to win the game. So let's put that aside for a second. But I will say, no other quarterback's been there this twice in the last 4 years like Jalen Hurts has. No other team has a winning record like Jalen Hurts does outside of Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts has every stat that, as a fan of the Eagles, not a fan of good quarterback play, not a fan of individual accolades, not a fan of MVPs, not a fan of all pro, as a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, he has checked off every box you would want your starting quarterback to check off. High win percentage, wins games, 2 NFC championship. I mean, how about T-Bone?
Except one.
T-Bone brings up a good point, and I'm an Andy Reid guy, but
Except
he brings
one.
up a good point. Look at the level of success this team is having right now. And I kind of asked you on the postgame show last night. I believe this is a big credit for Nick and for Jalen. I really do. I believe when you reach this level of success, it's a credit to Nick. It's one thing to go to the divisional round. It's one thing to win 14 games in a season. It's a whole nother thing to win the NFC twice in 3 years. I don't care how good the team is around you. That's not easy to do.
Then
and I think they deserve credit.
Then what will be the difference between Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni when Andy Reid was here in Philadelphia when he went to 5 straight NFC championships, 1 more Super Bowl appearance? Okay. Don't you, all the Philadelphia Eagle fans tell me this about Andy Reid? Hey, he almost was. Okay. Well, again, that's what this game is in 2 weeks.
Yeah. No,
He's going to be the almost was guy part 2.
Well, if he loses, and then you can make that argument. But the difference.
No. I'm not saying they are. If they play like they did yesterday, I don't know how you lose.
Well, I'll tell you why I feel so good about the game, but we'll get into that, I'm sure, in this. We got plenty of time to get into that. We got 2 weeks before this thing. But the difference there and the reason I differentiate these 2 coaches is I give a lot of the reason that Nick has success today, whether people are willing to admit this or not, is actually a lot because of Andy Reid.
It is.
And what he established in this. I know we didn't win. I understand. He didn't get enough credit. He didn't win enough. We didn't go to enough Super Bowls. We didn't win. So I get it. All right. You don't have to tell me. I know. We didn't fucking win in 14 years. You're beating a dead horse. I understand. But he set up a system in Philly and a philosophy that they still use today that they've mastered. They've gotten better at. And now Nick, I think, to his credit, is a little bit more polished early on in his career than I think it took Andy a little bit more time to learn some of the things that Nick's learned. You know, Nick had some crazy moments, not crazy moments, but moments where the national media was all talking about it. I think he learned from that. I really do. I think he's a different style of coach, but he's still the same Nick Sirianni. And you can see the way the players like him. I think Nick and Jalen both deserve a lot of credit, man, for where this team is today. Again, you're not wrong, though. You got to close the deal. And where I 100%, 1,000% agree with you and disagree with John McMullen is you're no dynasty without winning it. The Buffalo Bills are not a dynasty for going to 4 straight Super Bowls. I don't give a shit. And we'll look back on this time, in disgust if that's what happens.
Well,
but I digress. I think they have a really good chance to win this game.
go there with that, but I'm also going to say this to you about Nick. Dude, I think the hiring of Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore have made Nick Sirianni a better coach.
I agree.
I think that he's a better coach right now because he had people in the building, just like Nick was a better coach when he had two potential head football coaches who are now head coaches, who, by the way, have been brought back to try to build on what they're doing in Arizona. You can say whatever you want about Jonathan Gannon. That family is just as wacky, the Bidwell family, as the Irsays. And they both work for the worst owners in all of NFL football outside of Woody Johnson with the Jets. And they've been both brought back because they've shown things with Steichen in Indianapolis and with Gannon in Arizona. He had great coaches around him in 22, propelled him to the Super Bowl. Last year, he didn't have great coaches around him. Remember Jimmy Johnson saying this? A head coach is only as good as the assistant coaches that he has around him. And if you don't have a good coaching staff, dude, look at King at linebacker. Look at Clint Hurt at D-line.
Yeah, your guy Clint Hurt,
what they're doing over there on that defensive side by Dude, the player development this year has been the best of any year in the last 5 years that I've covered your football team.
Yeah, your guy Clint Hurt deserves a lot of freaking credit. I don't think he's actually getting enough credit for what he's done with that defensive line. I mean, he turned Nolan Smith into a perennial player. This guy's got 10.5 sacks and 10.5 sacks in 14 games. Like, where the hell did this come from Nolan? Some of the stunts he's doing on that defensive line to free up Jalen Carter from the double teams. I mean, you can tell that those dudes on that D line are coached well. You know, it almost gives me a Stoutland feel where not that good yet. It hasn't been that long, but I mean, the fundamentals of those guys and the way they're playing their position, you know, we talked about it all year. Outside of Jalen Carter, you don't really have this insane talented player. You don't have a Micah, you don't have a TJ Watt on the edge, but everybody's playing their job and doing it so well, including Milton Williams, including backups like Moro Ajomo. Josh Sweat's having a good year. All of these guys are contributing on that D line, and you should send your boy Clint Hurt a text and say, man, what a great job you've done this year with this D line, man. He's done a really good job.
After our post-game show, I texted him, and he sent me a picture. I wish I could share it, man. He's got his two dudes with his arm around them, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. Yeah, and they got his arm around him, and he's got a little caption that he texts me. He goes, "I like my boy Davis now," and I'm like, "Played his best game." I said, "Hey, played his best game since."
You got to let him poke a little fun at you.
Oh no, he goes like this. He goes, "Hey, I like my boy Davis now." I'm like, "Hey, I saw him, man. I thought he played great. I thought the triangle played great." Well, let me lead you to this one here. 24 hours after what you witnessed yesterday, give me maybe some things that you reflected on after going back and what you saw, because that was a dominant performance, man. I mean, 32-point win, 55 points, most in NFC championship game history. Here, I'm going to do it that I rarely do it for the Eagles. Heads. That's as close as the game was at the coin toss for that game. I mean, just some takeaways that you had, your top three takeaways.
So my first takeaway from the game is that the team is capable of more than I think most of us can even expect. Okay. Correct. And when this roster and when this team plays to the best of their abilities, which by the way, no team reaches their top potential every week in and week out. It's a fairy tale land that you set because you want to achieve excellence, but you know you're going to fall short at times. When this team clicks, holy shit, they are easily, at least in my lifetime, the greatest Eagles team in my lifetime, for sure. When they click, I don't even think it's, to be honest with you, I don't even think it's close. I really don't even think it's close. But my second takeaway is that there's real and there's fake in the world. There's people who talk and there's people who walk. Jalen Hurts, I think, has proven to me that he is at the least real. When he speaks and says some of the stuff he did throughout the year, a lot of the times you look at it and you're like, you know, is that just bullshit? Is that, you know, but I think what he showed yesterday and more importantly, what the team's success has showed this year is that everything that they did, everything they decided to do, no matter what Xander Krause and Dan Sileo said, no matter what Colin Coward said, no matter what all the other people in the media said, we did what we wanted to do because we felt like that was the best thing to do for our team to win football games. And at the very least, I believe Jalen Hurts is real and not a faker when he speaks. And I'm going to take that into account more. And he does, by the way, does come from the school of Saban.
Do you think anybody really thought he's full of shit?
I don't think you thought he was full of shit. I think you looked at it and said, Are they covering up his talent because he's not a good thrower? Do they want to run this type of offense? Is he happy with Kellen Moore? Does he have beef with A.J. Brown?
Oh, I don't think he's happy with Kellen Moore at all. I don't think he's happy with Kellen Moore at all. I think when you make the comment that you took the straitjacket off me, that's not a comment where you're saying this. The coaches all year long had me basically in a straitjacket, and I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I don't think that's an endorsement for your OC when you got.
It's not, but is it this? It's not. You're right, but is it this? Is it him killing his ego and saying, if this is what they think is best for the team, and it's working like
he said it after Cleveland. He goes, "Hey, I do what I'm told to do." That's
right, but isn't that another show though that Jalen Hurts is willing to put the team winning before what he wants, even if he hates the OC?
You know how many quarterbacks in the NFL that make $50 million a year would not do that? 95% of them.
What's that? Sorry, I missed that.
95% of the quarterbacks that make $50 million would not do that.
I agree, 100%, 100%.
You're not taking the ball out of those guys' hands. You're just not.
Completely. No, you're not. You're not. And they wouldn't allow it. And look, I'm not saying those guys aren't talented. I'm not saying it's not a credit to what they do, but I know there's only 2 teams left standing right now. And 2 of these quarterbacks are the guys that, even Mahomes, obviously Mahomes has all the accolades. So we're not acting like he's not great, but how many people did you hear this year? Mahomes, he doesn't look the same. It's not the same guy. He's not that good. And here they go. Okay. Here we go. They're in the Super Bowl again.
But here's my point. I think Brady, early in his career, was put in a box. I think Mahomes was put in the Andy Reid box.
Mm-hmm.
I think as those guys saw the game more, those guys expanded it because they trusted him more to get the job done. And Tom Brady, the first 10 years versus Tom Brady, the last 10 years, they're 2 different quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, his first Super Bowls compared to Patrick Mahomes now, Patrick Mahomes takes care of the football. He's not a playground guy. And what does he do in the postseason that he doesn't do in the regular season? He fucking runs in the postseason. His yardage in the postseason in that Bills game was essential for them moving on to Super Bowl 59.
Dude, you must, and maybe this slipped your mind. You must not remember the back-breaking run he had on us in the second half of the Super Bowl in the fourth quarter.
I do. But last year against the Niners, he did that for 60 yards.
Mahomes might not have a lot of yards this year, but he's still kind of dual threat. All right, so don't. Sleep on that.
But my point is, he uses it when needed.
Yes.
He doesn't use it and take it out of the toolbox every game. He only takes it out of the game and out of the toolbox in the postseason. I mean, it was really a display yesterday. I got to tell you one more time. That was one of the most impressive championship games. I'm trying to think of one. That championship game that you guys had where you beat that team by 31 points. What was
Vikings.
it? The Vikings?
Vikings.
You beat the Vikings in the NFC Championship. Didn't you beat them by 31?
38-7. You remember that was off the Minneapolis Miracle or the Minnesota Miracle, whatever they called that.
Yeah. Kick bought it on the Saints.
Touchdown. Yeah, and they rolled in there. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Minnesota Vikings were favored in that football game coming in, and we beat them 38-7. That was maybe. Boy, the Eagles. Do the Eagles have the 2 best ass beatings in NFC Championship game history? Belt the freaking ass, baby. Belt to ass, Big Sills.
Man, I'll say it for sure, man. Hey, dude, the play of Zach Bond and you know what I said? I go like this to Big Z. Big Z goes, fuck that. I'm still going Eagle linebackers. And I went like this. Bobby Wagner or Frankie Louvu. Who would have? Zach Bond and Oren fucking Burks outplayed those guys. Dude, Oren Burks parachutes out of off.
Big Z, I stuck with my no-host defense.
Off the sidelines, he parachutes in, and he's the second leading tackler in the ball game. I couldn't believe it. It was no drop-off from Dean. He went out there and played his ass off. He was in coverage.
Forced fumble.
He was so good.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm like this. You got to give this guy, Bobby King, the linebacker coach, and Vic so much credit, man, on how they played this year. The player development has been absolutely off the charts. I'm ready to do this, man. You win a Super Bowl with that defense, I know gangrene, man. It's hard, and I agree with Angelo, man. I think that's tough to call because there's so many great players on that team. Yeah, but if this team wins the Super Bowl, I'm sorry, man. I mean, you hold Patrick Mahomes away from a third straight Super Bowl. That's why you want the Chiefs. You know why? You want to make not just history. You want to make historical history by stopping the team that does a three-peat.
Wait, I might not want to tell Big Sills this, okay? Because Big Sills is going to take this dagger. He's going to load it up on his fist, and he's going to stab it into us all week long. And then if it doesn't go our way in Super Bowl 59 all year long. How about this?
Hold on.
All right, you ready? As beautiful as it is that we have a chance to end the misery that will exist in the NFL world of the Chiefs having a three-peat, if they do complete the three-peat, the Eagles will be 2 of the 3 losses in those Super Bowls, and we will live in history on the wrong side of it as the losers of the era.
What else? You fired him.
Fired who?
The guy that's going to win 3 in a row.
Oh, Andy. Oh, my God. Even better. Holy shit. All right. I don't want to put that out there. I think it's going to happen.
One of the greatest coaches of all time. If he wins a three-peat.
I don't think we're going to lose.
And having covered the team, I get it. 14 years? Guy, you're not on the GI Bill. You got to fucking win it. I get it.
Yeah.
But people outside of Philly are going to go, you fired that guy?
It's the story. It's the story. Like, you think NFL Films is going to make that documentary without mentioning that Andy Reid was the coach of, the Eagles? So now you're right. It's still the story, but that's my fear. But listen, I feel really good about winning, bro. I really do. I'm not just saying.
What did you just do?
Yeah, I don't know what I just did, Tony. Sills is going to be using that. You're the losers. Sileo will be going nuts on that.
You should.
Yeah, I feel good. Look, people have been calling me a homer. I don't give a shit. All right, keep calling me a homer. I don't care. I'm not. All right, I'm objective. I've been objective all year.
Wait a minute. How could somebody call you a homer when your team puts 55 up on someone?
Yeah, right. Well, no, because there was
and you beat a team by 32 points.
Hey, people called me a homer yesterday or 2 days ago when I told you Jalen Hurts is going to be the MVP of the football game. All right, how you doing? All right,
hey, how you doing?
Thank you very much. All right, here's why we're going to win. You guys ready?
Okay.
I'm going to give you a stat line. All right, 7 carries for 16 yards. You know what that resembles?
3 TDs.
No. 7 carries for 16 yards.
What?
That is Miles Sanders' stat line in Super Bowl 57. All right. That was the running performance we got from our 1,000+ yard back in Super Bowl 57. Okay. Now we have added Saquon Barkley. And if you believe for a second Saquon Barkley's not running for north of 80 yards in this game, you are outside your mind.
Before you get to 2 and 3, I got to tell you, I just sit down, I'm watching the fucking game, and I told my wife, I go, Washington's got to run the ball, they got to stop the run. Sure enough, she sits down, she goes like this. Barkley gets the first carry, fucking takes off for 65. She looked over at me, she goes, tell me you didn't pick Washington. and I went, yeah. She goes like this. She goes, I'll tell you what, man. I saw the error. Do you see Dan Quinn go like this?
Yeah.
He put his head back, and I went, that's got to take the wind out of your sails, man. When you see somebody, when you prepared all week long, Xander, and that guy takes you to the house and hits his head on the goalpost.
I know.
That's not what you're looking for.
Think about it. Oh, you're so right. All week long, you prep to stop Saquon Barkley, and the very first play, he goes 60 to the house. And by the way, that's after going 18 plays and only getting 3 points.
I know.
That was another dumb move by Dan Quinn that it wasn't talked about. But, all right, here's the next point of why we're going to win, because I think the first one is really all you need to know. If we can run the ball in the Chiefs, but they're going to have a hard time staying with us like we were able to do in the NFC Championship game and all year long with Saquon Barkley. 7 for 16 for Miles. What's the upgrade, everybody? Is it 100+? Is it 120? Is it 150? Is it 200? Is it 250? Who knows? He's done them all this year, so they're not out of the realm of possibility. All right, here's number 2. Jonathan Gannon became Vic Fangio. Okay, Miles Sanders became Saquon Barkley. James Bradbury became Quinyon Mitchell. Avante Maddox became Cooper DeJean. Javon Hargrave became Jalen Carter. TJ Edwards became Zach Bond. And Jalen Hurts went from 22 to 25. And maybe we could argue whether he got better or not, but he certainly has learned more. He's certainly been through more. He certainly knows that what comes with going to the Super Bowl and the media and the hype and the family tickets and everything that comes with the whole bullshit. Because everybody will tell you when they're done, the Super Bowl is so much more than just a game. And most people don't realize that all the lead up and the stuff, it takes away from what the players can do. And Jalen Hurts is more experienced. And I think that right there is everything I need to know at why I believe this team is much more equipped to handle the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
So, in your opinion, what are you looking at with Barkley in this ball game? What do you think he goes for in this ball game?
I think 100 plus is what we need. I think 100 plus, and you're in really good position to win the football game. You look at what he did versus the Commanders yesterday. He had 15 or 18 carries for 115 or something in that ballpark. So if you get over 100, I think you set your offense up to be able to have the passing game that they did yesterday. If you're going to have 65 like you did against Pittsburgh, it's going to change the dynamic of the game completely. And Jalen, it's going to change up what the defense is going to be able to do. By the way, Spags is going to bring the house.
Oh yeah,
and the blitzes that they were running yesterday aren't going to look like Steve Spagnuolo's blitzes. He's going to have all sorts of creative stuff in those blitzes that are going to be different looks for Jalen Hurts, and he's most likely going to bring the house. So a lot. So got to have an answer for that. But if you run the ball, you mitigate a lot of that. So I feel pretty good about going into this game.
Kansas City's given up 106 yards a game. Eagles have given up 104 a game. And in the last 3 games, Kansas City's given up 151. I'm assuming this is regular. Yeah, this is regular season. Actually, it's to date. So it's counting the playoffs.
Yeah, they haven't been great recently, right?
No, they haven't. 151 is not great. And the Eagles have given up 105-7. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they held Washington to 99 yards in that game. So, so they're both pretty compatible in yards against. But again, you're not facing – they did play against Derrick Henry this year. Okay. So they have played against him, but I don't really think – they played a back in the AFC this year where he's compared – this guy here, Barkley, dude, I've never seen anything like it. Every time he touches the ball, he's a threat to go to the house. He touches the ball, you're like this. Jesus criminy, man. He gets these 10 yards. How many times did you see shoestring tackles in that game yesterday where you could have swore one more step, he's 48 yards down the sidelines?
Okay,
I've never seen anything like it.
It's amazing. It really is what he's been able to do. And did you hear Andy Reid's comment on him today?
No.
Let me read you the exact quote. I'm going to pull it up for you. And by the way, I want to revisit a conversation with you right now that I'd love to revisit with John, but he'll have a hissy fit and go and have his panties in a bunch. So I don't want to do it with John. So I'm going to do it with you. All right. I'm going to put you through the misery doing it.
Right.
Andy Reid calls Saquon Barkley, and this is a quote, a running back who is arguably one of the best in the history of the game. Wow. All right, that's Andy Reid today. Now, maybe it's gamesmanship. Maybe you're talking up your opponent, but I don't think I think Andy knows how good this player is. All right. And you remember on a post-game show, I don't know, week 8, week 9, week 10, I don't know what week it was, but me, you, and John all got into a little bit of a bicker match when I said Saquon Barkley is the best player on the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you think Saquon Barkley is the best player on the Philadelphia Eagles?
By far.
Okay, because I think did you agree with me or did you push back on me?
No, I think he changed the entire narrative of the offense. Yeah, I never pushed back on that.
Yeah, because John was like, it's AJ.
No, because John made the proclamation. This is what I did. This is different for me and John. I said that guy was a nothing burger in New York because he never lived up to the number 2 pick overall. Little did we realize that it was New York that failed him. He didn't fail New York. So when he got here and and all of a sudden you started watching him hitting his head on the goalpost, right. I went like this. This guy's better than I thought he was. He is that guy. And then he even elevated himself even more. Here's the thing he's done compared to the last 2 backs. He's taken your O-line, which is sensational, and made that sensational line worthy of going out and blocking for him and not having to carry as much as the male. Because you know why? It's true. Brian Westbrook on his program said it. He goes, man, they don't touch him for 2-3 yards into the line of scrimmage. But he takes full advantage of that. How many times have we used to say this about Miles Sanders? He runs the contact. Well, he runs the contact because he doesn't really run that well in space. Barkley runs the contact, runs you over, but he's elusive.
Yeah, I mean, look, every
best
good
athlete they've had back there running the ball. I'm trying to think of people that have been athletes like that. That he's an athlete. See, Derrick Henry's a boss, and I'm not saying he's not an athlete.
No, I know what you're saying. There are different types of runners.
Elusiveness
Saquon's got a turbo mode that once he gets into a hole, and he just explodes through it, and then he's hard to tackle too. By the way, I think every running back in the history of the game that was worth a damn or was good or was a guy like a Brian Westbrook or better than that would dream of running behind this offensive line. I mean,
hey, senor, it's not a flip-flop. It's called being wrong. That's when you say somebody at the beginning of the year did not fulfill his destiny when he was in New York, and you say this.
I think he was saying you said AJ Brown was better, but it's fine. It doesn't. It's not my. It was not my point.
AJ Brown was better.
That was not my point anyway. But I think everybody would say,
John thinks that.
Look, here's another point. Okay.
Who does John think is better?
He thinks AJ Brown's the best player on the team, and it's not particularly close. He actually goes as far as to say Saquon Barkley's not even the best running back in the league, because his PFF grade shows you that he's not as good on like block. I know. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This guy's changed every game he's been a part of, but his PFF grade
has had the best. He's not the best back in the game, but he has had the best season in the league, and I don't think that's close.
Well, that's what John. That's kind of John's point.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have the resume Henry has.
No, but that's not. I think the question was more who's the most talented player on the Eagles.
Oh, it's Barkley.
It's Barkley. It's got to be. I mean, in my opinion,
I'm not going PFF.
But look, here in the same breath that I say that, I will say this too. And we've given this guy a lot of kudos, and you've given him a lot of kudos, and everybody in Philly's given him a lot of kudos, and the entire NFL world has given him a lot of kudos, but he deserves even more. Who else broke away with a big run yesterday?
Will Shipley.
And did you happen to watch the offensive line on the run that Will Shipley had for 50 yards where he ran out of gas and stumbled down? It was I actually broke out laughing.
A lot of those guys.
That poor guy. He got so damn tired. His gas bucket emptied after he went 25 yards. He was never expecting to go that far. But that hole was so big. And I'm like, look, this is where Jeff
line is so good, though, dude. That line is
but
so
Jeff
good.
Stoutland, too. He's the run game coordinator, man.
Yeah.
He sets up these blocks just insane, man. Even Will Shipley had a damn 50-yarder, and I was cracking up at it. But, look, Saquon's obviously the talent that he is, and he's taken full advantage of this offensive line. But they're the offensive. They're the MVP of the team, no doubt. That offensive line is nasty, man. They're nasty.
I see RTF goes Sil's wrong all year. Well, guess what? You'll have that shot in 2 weeks to validate that, and I'll put you on Monday, RTF, to tell me how wrong I was. You have 60 minutes left. You have 60 minutes left, dude.
All right, here's what I'm going to say, because I got to run. I got some production to do before 6 p.m., all right? Last thing I'm going to say here about this damn Kansas City Chiefs, all right? There's two ways to look at this. Me and Sileo have a show to do for 2 weeks. We're going to analyze the team. We're going to talk about what they do well, what they don't do well. We're going to look at every aspect of it. We're going to talk about the three-peat. We're going to talk about how great they've been. Andy Reid, the coaches, Mahomes, the running game, the deep, everything. You name it. We're going to talk about it. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, I would channel the rat poison thing more now than ever. Yeah. Because the minute you look at a team, the minute you look at a player and you put them on a pedestal, and you approach them as your superior almost. Oh, Mahomes is going. You lose. You mentally fucking lose. Look at that team and say, I don't give a fuck who you are or who we're playing. I'm gonna run you the fuck over.
Do you know what the media is going to do the next 2 weeks?
Oh, they're gonna.
The story is going to be Kansas City. And they hate you in Philly because of how passionate you are. Remember something, media hates passion. They don't like passionate people. They like fence straddlers That's who they are. Okay. The liberal media loves fence straddlers that ride on one side of the fence, and they're not going to be your friends. You're going to be the dance partner for the next 2 weeks. This is going to be all about Kansas City, the three-peat, Mahomes being in the conversation with Brady. And, oh, by the way, the Eagles are going to be in that. If I were the Eagles, I would welcome that. I would go, great. Yeah, those guys are going for it. Those guys are. And then what you do is you get in there and you know what you do? You go out there and beat the shit out of them like you did the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, I like this guy's comment here. Where is it? I'll find it. What did he say? Dominate your fucking box, he said. There it is. Sam Fleming.
There you go.
Dominate your fucking box. That's what I want the approach. Look, I get it. The media is going to do this. We're fans. We can think about everything. We can talk about everything. That's the point. But if you're that Eagles team, if you're a football player on this team, I wouldn't give one sniff, one inkling of credence to the dynasty, to the team, to the quarterback, to the coach. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care if it's Allen, Mahomes. I don't care. I don't care. I'm coming for you, and I'm going to beat you at what you do, and I'm going to win the football game. And that's what I hope the team's approach is, because if they start listening, they're on the 3P. It's like slaying the dragon. You immediately put them on a pedestal. You place yourself beneath them, and you already lost mentally going into.
I think that 22 loss in the Super Bowl is going to be your repellent to that. I think the 22 loss is the repellent. I mean, if this was the first time that those guys had ever gone to the Super Bowl as a unit, I think that that's something to concern yourself about. But I would say that 2022/23 Super Bowl loss, I think that those guys are going to go back and have muscle memory on this. And those guys are going to remember, hey, man, we walked into that game with the best roster too. Remember, Xander, they're going to walk into this game in 2 weeks with the best roster again. They're going to walk into there. They're going to have every advantage almost at every single position except the quarterback. And get this, the coach is better. The quarterback's better. You have the better roster.
Yeah.
We got beat last time doing that. Okay? So what's going to be the difference? I think your toughness is different this time than it was in 22.
Yeah.
I think this is a tougher team.
I'm telling you, the biggest difference, in my opinion, is the run game. Why we didn't run the ball in that Super Bowl is so beside. If you go back and rewatch, and I've already started to go and look at some clips and everything, why we got away from the run in that game so bad. And credit to Jalen Hurts. He threw the ball exceptionally well in that football game. Really did well, but holy shit, you can't go away from the run when you're playing a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. You got to run. You got to dominate that football team. You got to make them stop you and do it in such a way that's so damn physical. By the third and fourth quarter, they're wheezing. They're gasping for air. They're using oxygen on the sidelines. You can't play cute with this team. Blow them off the ball.
Absolutely, man. Xander, great stuff as always, my friend. We got the likes. By the way, I want to thank everybody. We got the likes over 600.
Unbelievable.
You guys did absolutely great job today, and I can't thank you guys enough. Xander, I don't know. Did we have any super chats?
Yeah, we got a couple. Let's do them real quick. All right?
Okay.
Emmanuel, what's up, brother? I love that name, Emmanuel. I just bet 10,000 on the Eagles for the win. That has to be at them by 7 at least to win the bet, brother. Might want to cash out. That's not a good bet. You want them to win by 7? And you bet
are you shocked the Chiefs are favored by 1.5?
Did I read that right? Did he bet the 10 bands on the Chiefs to win or the Eagles to win by 7?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Emmanuel, love your name. Don't love your bet. Abe says, Vic get his payback from 22.
Are you shocked that the Chiefs are favored by 1.5?
No, I'm not. Bro, you got to beat the king in order to beat the king.
I got it.
Come on, man. This team is Super Bowl ready. I mean, clearly. Vic gets his payback from 22 Super Bowl Chiefs dead meat. Why Vic?
Well, because Vic was a consultant on that team too. So that's probably where he's going with that.
Matt Dio, one of our winners today for the JAKIB merch. Thanks, bro. I'm waiting to hear from you. Barkley needs 30 yards to take combined post and regular season to take the record from Terrell Davis. 2476 yards in the 98 Super Bowl season.
Hey, dude,
I think one more game we have, right?
Hey, 24. Yeah, one more game. 20, but he didn't play in that game. 2476, dude, it's like a college number, like the kid from Boise State rushing the guy who rushed for that $2,400. Holy cow, man, that's unbelievable. What a year, man. Hey, I don't think that that's sustainable, but that's for the offseason. congratulations on this right now. He's just a couple yards away. Unbelievable.
Man, Brian Fleming in the chat, you got me with that comment, bro. That was some funny stuff. I ain't gonna go down that road though. Buddy says this Twinkie destroyer can't admit when he's wrong about. Yo, buddy, I already dipped one of his super chats on the post game show because I wasn't gonna give it. Look, if you want to criticize Sills, that's fine, but don't come on our show.
Wait a second here, though, buddy.
Come on, man. This is fucking your show. I mean, it's a stupid comment.
Sorry, by the way, buddy, I appreciate.
Look, I love when people disagree with us. I get a kick out of you being wrong about the team too. That's a stupid fucking comment.
Hey, buddy, wrong? Win it, buddy. Okay, wrong about what? 29-03 had a great game. He did win it. Now go get it.
Revenge of the Birds. Revenge of the Birds.
$5. I'm not gonna lie. I appreciate the $5. So thank you.
I'll take it. Revenge of the Birds Part 2. I like it.
Yep.
Jeff Bone said, "Dude, we might have gotten to this. Dude, we feel like we got to keep Mahomes off the field."
Yes, we got this.
Yep. Yeah, their defense not that good. Their defense has. I think I saw a stat today. They're. I'm just all right, buddy. That's fine. He says
man. All right, buddy. I got you, brother.
You're good, but I'm on tilt today, buddy. I'm on tilt today. So don't fucking tap me, big guy.
Xander's got an injection. Xander's got Eagle meth.
Yeah, all right. I'm on tilt. Man. Look, Prince knows. How great is it to have the legendary Prince back in the chat? I love it. All right, I got to run, man.
Hey, Prince, me and Xander got 50. You were in the can for about 3 weeks.
Yo, Prince, where you been, dog? Prince, where you been?
Hey, Prince, me and Xander got 50. You were in the can for about 30 days.
Yo, Prince disappeared, comes back like he never left. He's like, yo, let me get likes. I'm running the chat again. Prince is out here. He's back, man. Great to see him back.
All right, Xander, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much for catching on Birds 365
all right, big dog.
tomorrow.
Big dog.
There you go, Prince. I appreciate you being back here. Thank you guys so much. We so appreciate you guys. All right, folks, do me a favor here. Make sure you chime up with our friends at BetUS. Our friends at BetUS, man, we have just had a great year with these guys, and we have the YouTube 150. The YouTube 150 is a sign-up bonus up to $2K. You get an opportunity to be involved with that. Don't forget, again, if you're into crypto, it's 200% up to your sign-up bonus of $2K. Your second and third are 125%. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business. 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year. Live wagering on all major games. That's betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sil sent you.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones, and paralegals like these two who bring the heat and never miss a deed. That's short for detail. And the guy carrying the box, that's not a puppy in there. It's 55 pounds of case notes. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. So yeah, you don't just get some lawyer, you get an army. Insurance companies know that we've got the tech, money, and muscle to fight for you. When you get injured and need a law firm, size matters. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, forthepeople.com.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills here. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. You guys have been absolutely sensational, and I appreciate it. Xander, we're going to do one Morgan & Morgan here before we close up shop here. So we're not going to take a timeout. We're just going to be a small stop set here for you guys. So we're going to do that here in a second. But I want to throw this at you. Please hit the like button. 625 likes. Absolutely sensational. I can't thank you guys enough. Jalen Hurts, 9 rushing touchdowns, is the most by any playoff quarterback in history. That's a great number, especially for what they do. Okay? Especially for what and how the team is designed. Okay? That's a great number. These next 2 weeks, man, be prepared, Eagle fans. You're going to be the dance partner. You're not going to be the lead guy in this dance and in this waltz. The media, they're going to be talking about Andy Reid, and they're going to be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs fans. They're going to be talking about Mahomes' place in history. They're not going to be talking about the Eagles like this. Philadelphia is a little bit in that Boston kind of the way they cover them. Can't stand the fans. Can't stand your passion. And it's crazy. All right. I've got to do this. By the way, we are so thrilled to death. Are we not, Xander? Big Joe? Morgan & Morgan now is part of the program here. We can't thank you guys enough. I've known John Morgan for over 25 years, and we are so proud to have them part of the program because you know why? I know the folks at Morgan & Morgan with the thousands of attorneys that they have. These folks are there for you and your family. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm, and these people take no for an answer. They're there for you and your family. With over $20 billion recovered, this is what they do for their clients. Morgan & Morgan, their track record is unparalleled with anybody in the country when it comes to doing justice for your family. There's a dude in Pennsylvania, a client that got $26 million because of Morgan & Morgan. The insurance company only wanted to give $650K. Okay? No way. Not with Morgan & Morgan. In Florida, a client had $12 million. This is what he received. And the insurance company only offered him $350,000. That's not happening at Morgan & Morgan. Life is hard. The easiest thing you'll do is hire Morgan & Morgan for you guys to go out there. It's the easiest thing that you could possibly do, okay? If you're ever injured, check out Morgan & Morgan. The fee is free unless you guys win. For more information, go forthepeople.com/Big Sills or pound law 529. That's FOR thepeople.com/Big Sills or pound 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sills sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Big Sills, hit that like button, folks. Who's Jason Kelce rooting for in this game in 2 weeks? Is he rooting for his brother? Or is he rooting for the Eagles? He's not playing anymore. So who's he rooting for? By the way, the stuff with Morgan & Morgan, folks, is because of you. Without you watching the program, we don't have BetUS. We don't have Morgan & Morgan. We don't have the other advertisers on the program. So I thank you also. Thank you. Okay? Who's Kelce rooting for? Bruce Banner goes, Sills, who gives a shit? You know, I don't really care. Yeah, it's true. But I find it funny that he goes WIP and he talks about how great the Eagles are. And I wonder if anybody on the network or on the station is going to ask him who he's rooting for. Okay? You think he probably will be going for the Eagles. I know how much he loves his brother, but maybe in private, I don't know, man. I am shocked. Then again, maybe I'm not. That the Chiefs are 1.5-point favorites in this game. And I agree, man. You got to if you want to beat a king, you got to beat the king. I think this thing is lined up great. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are playing for their places in history. They're going to have a great shot at this here. They're going to erase a lot of narratives if they win this game. And how about Nick Saban, his greatest quarterback to ever play, could possibly be Jalen Hurts, and that's the guy he fired. I mean, he wins the Super Bowl. Jesus. It'd almost be as bad as Joe Burrow winning the Heisman Trophy, leaving, and then going to LSU and winning a national title and leaving Ohio State. So anyway, you guys were great. It is going to be a fantastic next 2 weeks to get to New Orleans. And what great storylines. Last two teams standing. You're going to fight for the heavyweight championship, the Lombardi Trophy. Big Joe, Xander, thank you very much. Don't forget tomorrow, 2 to 6 Eastern time. Hit that like button on the way out. You guys were 1,000% awesome today. We will see you, and we will see you on the flip side.